This episode of PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. I'm Carol Daniel. PNC C-Speak provides digital storytelling from a C-level perspective on relevant forward-thinking business approaches. Listen to our 15-minute podcast with Jane Ann Calloway Haybeck at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
CertaPro commercial painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of minimal disruption.
We work with you to ensure a smooth project.
The power of making you look good.
Making sure it's done right, on time and within budget, so every property manager looks like a hero. That's CertaPro painters.
The power of pro.
Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
For a smarter conversation about money, Everyday Wealth with Soledad O'Brien and Gene Chatsky, presented by Edelman Financial Engines. Your hosts and their guests will explore how our financial decisions shape our everyday lives. For airtimes, visit everydaywealth.com.
She was a force of nature. He got swept up. Join Opera Theater of St. Louis for its 2022 festival season, which opens with an all-new production of Bizet's iconic opera, Carmen. Sparks fly when the beautiful Carmen meets the young soldier Don Jose, and they quickly begin a passionate affair. Jose is ready to sacrifice everything for Carmen, but when Carmen leaves him for the bullfighter Escamillo, a tangled web of lust and obsession play out to fatal effect. This timeless tale of seduction, individuality, and betrayal features some of the most beloved melodies in all of classical music. The 2022 festival season also features Mozart's whimsical fairy tale, The Magic Flute, and 2 world premiere operas, Awakenings, based on the true story of Dr. Oliver Sacks, and a new performing edition of Harvey Milk, inspired by the life and death of the gay civil rights icon. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more at experienceopera.org.
Carol Daniel here for Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's vacation season, and I've got just the perfect vacation for you. And it's not that far. It's your backyard. Call my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck so they can create the backyard of your dreams. Your yard is begging for a beautiful deck or a pergola with a louvered roof system that you can open and close with the touch of a button. Or how about a beautiful cedar, vinyl, or aluminum fence that can also create a vacation setting in your backyard? They built our bronze aluminum fence, and it frames our backyard beautifully. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck 636-532-4054. You set up a free in-home estimate and you get a free project design, and then sit back and be amazed at the work of their craftsmen. When you call in the month of June, mention my name, Carol Daniel, and you'll get 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. And oh, by the way, do they have the best warehouse and showroom in Chesterfield? Check it out for an incredible display of their fences, decks, pergolas, sunrooms, and more. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Well, we got a hell of a crew on the show today. Obviously, Amy, Chris, and Kevin hanging out with you, but we have another Kevin in studio now, Kevin Killeen. Charlie Brennan is... Are you already unretired, or are you just joining us for the day?
This is just for the day, but I'm...
He heard the show. He's like, I got to get back.
Just here for the food.
By the way, shouldn't this bumper music be Beat It?
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, Charlie's going to bill for this hour, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Already did.
But for those that didn't catch the first segment, we're doing this because today's the last day for Chris Myhill. He has spent 40 years at KMOX, worked with a lot of people, some more of whom we're going to hear from as we go through this hour. Sorry, Chris. He's giving me the look, man. Ron, stand by the door. Make sure.
Yeah.
Well,
sure. And the thing is, Chris, I mean, I don't believe the allegations. I think it stinks that it's ending this way.
I knew it was bad when the alderman went down. You knew Myhill was next.
I'm not here to talk about the past.
Our next call is from John Doe.
We're going to have a few more guests here because we want to send you out the right way. And obviously, Kevin Killeen has come in. And you always have something special planned, Kev, so the stage is yours, my friend.
Well, I got nothing, but I just want to say, I want to let the audience know who is Chris Myhill. We know Charlie Brennan, and Chris ran his show for years as executive producer. It's like George and Ira Gershwin. It's like Briggs and Stratton, Sacco and Vanzetti. I mean, these two have been working together, and it's all because Chris Myhill comes from a showbiz family.
There's no business like show.
Let me tell you what I know. In his kitchen is a watercolor of his grandfather.
Yes.
Who was in vaudeville. And so there was a culture in this family of go for the laugh. get to the point, keep it interesting, keep it moving. And then his father was an advertising executive with Darcy. He was in the message business. And so he had this probably dinner table training of how to get to the point. He was not from the Edith Bunker School of Communication. He would get to the point right away. But there was something else that happened in his formative years as an adolescent that shaped him and made him the chance taker that he is today.
No.
Once upon a time on a summer night, an adolescent Chris Myhill was driving down Clayton Road in his dad's muscle car. What was it, a GTO?
It was a Camaro, and I can't believe you're telling the story.
And well, this is important. This is why Chris Myhill is who he is today. Car pulls up behind him, an unmarked police car, and he thought it was just another guy in a fast car, and the car was pacing him in a challenging way. So Myhill says, I'm going to go to 40, and he's go to 45. And then the lights come on, and Myhill says, do I pull over and become an accountant, or do I go for it? So he revs it, and he goes down through the cul-de-sac, hides in a neighbor's garage area, and the police car whooshes by. Myhill backs up, goes back to his parents' house, closes the garage door, goes up to his bedroom with his heart pounding, and lies there waiting for Charlie Brennan to call and say, we have a future for you in radio. Because if he had not taken that chance, if he had, and we're not saying evade the police, but
this sounds exactly like what you're saying.
When somebody does something like that, that is show business in essence, where you're going to take a chance, not check with management, not just get pulled over. So we congratulate you on all that. And as you make your great escape, we know that we're going to miss you. I'll think of not seeing the back of your head.
You know, excuse me. I mean, you gotta finish that story.
Too much information.
Be more clear, Kevin.
I'll think of this. This is a dirty group. I'll think of not seeing the back of your head at your desk. Wow, and just to let me know. All right, the Archbishop is going to call. Clean it up. Just to see you sitting at your desk and day after day, I thought if he can work for a living, so can I. So
this was going so well.
See you guys later.
The great Kevin Killeen joining in on the party.
No,
Kevin, we've already brought Kevin down to our level. Sorry, Kevin. It's only been 2 weeks. Yeah, I know. It only took 2 weeks for that to happen.
Yeah. To change the subject quickly, if we can. Chris, put your hand on the Bible and tell us, what was the average speed you drove to work when you were working the board for Bob, Bill, and Wendy during Total Information AM and had to be here at 4:55 a.m.?
It was well above 85 miles an hour.
I thought so. Yeah.
And in fact, Mom, turn off the radio, please. I may own the speed record from 141 to downtown, 40 and 141 to downtown. I think it was like 13 minutes.
By helicopter?
I was running really late.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
quickly, can you tell the Roger Brand, Chris Myhill going to work story?
Well, at the time, Roger and I actually happened to be driving the same type of car, Honda little CRXs, and we'd run. He lived out in West County. We would run into each other going into work at 4:30 in the morning. So we'd been driving down Highway 40, just us, nobody else in the road. And I would sneak up. I'd get right behind Roger, right on his bumper, and then turn my lights off.
So you disappeared.
I would disappear. He would know, and I would just say, "Just don't hit your brakes. You'll be fine."
I know. There was the one thing, guys, and Amy, that we could never mention. Doris, turn off the radio right now. You can talk about anything on the radio except one thing, and that was that Chris had a motorcycle.
I did.
Yep.
For 5 years.
And because you didn't want family members to know that you were driving a motorcycle.
No. In fact, when my parents would come over for dinner or whatever, I'd have to move the motorcycle to the neighbor's garage.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So we have a lot of your coworkers that are going to be a part of this. No. We also have a former boss of yours on the phone right now. Chris, you can say hi to Tom Langmeyer.
Oh, hey, wow. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm great, Chris. How are you doing? Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
I can't believe. I don't really remember you. I just remember, walking around the studio in the front, and I'd go around the window, by the arch there, looking out the window, and I'd look into the studio, and I I saw the back of your head.
Not the only one, apparently.
And then Tom would say, I thought, it said, hey, Rod Zimmerman, I thought you fired this guy. Is he still here?
Oh my God. I don't even know where to go next. We get too many jokes.
We should mention that Tom was the program
Yes,
director
yep.
and general manager of the station before leaving here and becoming the general manager
Chicago.
of WGN in
Right.
Chicago.
Mhm.
And are you Milwaukee or Buffalo now?
I don't even know. You know what? You know where I am right now? I am actually on the New York State Thruway, heading between Buffalo and Chicago and Milwaukee because I've got a bunch of stuff going on there this week. So I just drive. I just drive around and listen to KMOX.
And speaking of driving, you were driving in southern Missouri listening to the radio and you heard someone, correct?
That's right. That was probably Carol Daniel, right?
Yep.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And she was in Cape Girardeau and heard her on the radio and pulled over and called her and she didn't know that I was real.
Yeah.
I was. And I am. I was very real and thought she was terrific and said, hey, would you like to come talk to us? We need you at KMOX.
Wow.
You sound great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you oversaw
And,
a lot of the KMOX greats then. Chris Myhill, Kevin Killeen, Carol Daniel,
Oh, my gosh.
Tom
Yeah,
Ackerman.
there was a lot. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. All of them.
Man. So
But great ones. And it was interesting because Chris, I worked at KMOX. It seems, sometimes it seems just like yesterday. It's still a very special place to me. And honestly, in my whole career, with all the great radio stations I've been able to work with, KMOX, and I'm not just saying this is my favorite place, and St. Louis was my favorite place to live, during that long career. And my wife and I raised our kids there, and it's really kind of sort of home to us. So even though we weren't from there, but I will tell you that walking into KMOX and seeing the staff was amazing because KMOX had the best producers of any station where I've ever worked. I mean, it was amazing. So,
Amen.
Chris was such a multi-talented guy because he was working at the FM station, a music station, which was an oldie station upstairs at the time, which was part of KMOX and CBS at that time. Plus, he was working downstairs. He was not only great in terms of getting guests on the station, but also technically impeccable.
Right.
And one of the things that was really great about Chris, too, was his demeanor with all kinds of talent. And we had all kinds of talent. There's all kinds of talent still at KMOX, and he could work with anybody. And that says a lot about him because KMOX always deserved excellence, and Chris was able to adjust with no matter who he worked with. I mean, he worked with the greats like Ian Keefe and certainly Bob, Bill, and Wendy, and Total Information AM. And over the years, he's just been invaluable. And the other thing that
Tom, we hate to interrupt you. Unfortunately, we got to pull like it's a night at the Oscars. Plus, you ran this place. You know how it works.
Yeah.
We got to hit the news in a couple of minutes. Tom Langmeyer with us. Hang around. The show continues here on KMOX.
Did you hear what Trish said on the Glover Show?
Someone just took a sandwich off my desk.
Where was it on your desk?
Right on top. Like, you couldn't miss it if you walked in the office.
Gotcha.
Which I thought was safe, and someone stole my sandwich. You guys, I don't think, because I think you'd finally tell me and start laughing. Well, I don't think you would do that, or I think you would say later, hey, I took that sandwich. And
So
I
we're
care.
suspects.
No,
We're light suspects.
everybody is.
Wow.
Everybody is, Dave.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 2 on KMOX.
Tired of the cookie-cutter feel of some new home communities? Discover the uniqueness of Lombardo Homes at Inverness. Inverness features variable setbacks throughout the neighborhood to create a park-like setting along the streets, as well as trails with pocket parks, loads of common ground, and 4 lakes. Inverness features custom homes ranging from 1,700 to over 2,500 square feet, priced from the high 300s. Tour our decorated display within Inverness, located on the north side of 5Z Road, west of Bryan Road. For more information, visit lombardohomes.com.
At 10:30, cloudy skies, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Stuart McMillan. Here's what's happening. The Biden administration lifting its requirement that international air travelers to the U.S. take a COVID-19 test within a day before boarding their flights. St. Louis police are warning about specific vehicle brands and thieves are favoring right now. So far this year, 155 Kias, 142 Hyundais have been reported stolen in the city, almost triple over the same month a year ago. 2 workers at an M&M factory in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, had to be rescued after they fell into a tank of waist-high chocolate. Couldn't get out on their own. Fire officials say the crews cut a hole in the side of the vat to rescue them. No word on how they fell in. Speaking of holes, a giant hole about 40 feet deep opened up in St. Louis at Blair Avenue and Ferry Street yesterday. The city says it's likely rain caused that to happen and caused it to collapse in that area. It could take the better part of a month to repair. Cards and Reds tonight, 7:10 on KMOX. Looking at the roadways, emergency vehicles 70 eastbound at 270. Be prepared to stop in that area. Stalled vehicle 270 northbound past I-55. Right shoulder is affected. Looking at your weather, high of 77 today. A shower or thunderstorm possible. Lingering shower tonight, low of 64. Tomorrow, high of 80. Some clouds. Nice day. Sunshine. It'll be hot Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday in our extended forecast. 93 on Sunday. In the hundreds. Monday through Wednesday. Right now, 69 in Florissant, 69 in St. Peter's, and the same downtown of the Arch with cloudy sky. I'm Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
When it comes to anything electrical, your residence, your business, your industrial job, leave it to the pros. You see Reinhold electric trucks all over the place. It's a big family-owned company. They have over 350 union electricians, laborers, millwrights, carpenters. They've got a lot of people that have been there for well over 10 years, and they are ready for any job you have. Maybe you want to get an inline generator. A lot of people are looking into that. It's a great investment because when the storms roll through, power goes out in the neighborhood. With an inline generator, your power stays on, and Reinhold Electric can get you connected with one of those right away. If you are looking at an electric car, you need a charging station at your home, in your garage, right? Well, Reinhold does that as well. And every phone call that comes in 24 hours a day is answered by a real live person. So call Reinhold Electric for all your electrical needs at 314-631-1158. That's 314-631-1158. Or go to ReinholdElectric.com. Tell them Bo sent you.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Join me Monday mornings at 9:50 for our new feature, 5 Minutes with Number 5. And you know who that is? Albert Pujols. 5 Minutes with Number 5. Mondays at 9:50 a.m. on the Voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
All right, we're having fun on a Friday in the first hour of the show, saying thank you to Chris Myhill. 40 years at KMOX. We've got Charlie Brennan in studio, obviously Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, of course, Kevin Wheeler with you here, and we are parading some people in from your past as well.
Humiliating some people.
Well, they're all doing that to themselves. Sorry, Colleen, it's your fault. The way that went. But we're going to continue on here. We got a few more people that want to jump in and say hello here on your last day, and congratulations. One of them, longtime host here on KMOX, one of my favorite people, Doug McKelvin, is joining us. Doug, Chris, Doug, I think you guys know each other.
Hey, Wheels and Charlie and the assembled multitude there. It's good to be invited into this party. I think in my entire broadcast career, I've never heard a show where a producer was
being given a going away show. I think I've ever heard anything like that before. So,
Doug,
but it's worthy.
Doug, they're just so happy to get rid of me. That's why. That's why they're throwing this party.
Speaking of which, I have to bring up the internal phone message list, which is Charlie will know what I'm talking about here too. Yeah, this is a listing that had all the internal extensions for people who worked at the radio station over the years. And for some bizarre reason, Chris started keeping this list and marking off people who left. Who's left on the list right now?
He just showed this to us.
He did. Roger Brand, Tina Spivey, and Fred Bottenheimer.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And
So, I mean, you almost made it out alive.
The
man.
irony is, I just crossed off my name this morning.
Did you really?
I did. I literally
gosh.
crossed off
Did
my
you
name.
Seriously?
I did. Yes.
You guys didn't have a survivor pool or anything, did you?
No, but I knew I
Not
was
that
not going
I'm
to win
aware
it.
of.
I think Tina's going to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina
I
wins
think
it.
that's a possibility. I will say this about Chris, in all honesty and in all seriousness, just to bring a moment of seriousness about this. Chris was the kind of guy, as a producer, who you could go to him and you would say, "Hey, Chris, it's a Friday afternoon. Can we get, hypothetically, Elon Musk on Monday
Yeah.
to join us on the show?" And he'd pause. And though he didn't know Elon Musk personally, he knew somebody who knew somebody who knew the sister of Elon Musk, and he'd try to get somebody on to do the kind of thing. And that's the kind of producer you want.
And remember, we did get Elon Musk's sister on that time.
Miss Musk.
There you go. The other thing is the long-suffering Judy, your bride. Are you still throwing the party at your house? Because I haven't received an invitation in the last couple of years.
The last one was 2019.
Are you talking about Garagapalooza?
Garagapalooza.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
hopefully, now this is when I say Judy, turn off the radio.
Yep.
It's coming back this year.
All right.
Yes. So.
You think?
And by the way, none of you guys. Are
That's what I was
invited.
going to ask. Oh,
That's all right. We'll just do like today. We'll just do what we want and crash.
yeah.
It was always a hellacious party. I mean, it was tremendous because you could go and you'd see you meet all sorts of different people from not only the radio station but the real world, and it was a lot of fun because he'd play and whatever haphazard band he was with at that. What was it, Johnny in underwear?
Johnny in shorts.
Explain quickly how Johnny in Shorts got the band name.
Well, it was my friend who was married to the guitar player, Kathy Bernard. She was working at Enterprise, and she was in charge of like their monthly magazine. And they were going through pictures, and one of them was, "Oh, there's Johnny in Shorts at the picnic." and so we had all sorts of names, coming up, and I'm like, you know what, Johnny in Shorts is perfect. That's the name.
I wish we had something like that for the show.
Yeah.
Nah, just call it the show.
Yeah, we had no ideas.
No good ones,
Well,
none at least.
The bottom line is this: Chris is great as a producer, great as a human being, just in general terms. And by the way, I owe you a lunch, Chris. Not the rest of that motley crew you're assembled with. It sounds like there's like 40 of you there in the studio, so I can't do that. But I owe you a lunch. So the next time you're out here in beautiful West County, I owe you one. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic, and thank you very much,
Doug. We thank you. Thanks for jumping on, and look forward to hopefully seeing you here soon. There you go. I thought he didn't get to say goodbye. There you go.
Oh, there he is.
Doug McKelvin obviously jumping in to say hello. And now another voice from your past, Chris. Now, this is somebody that I've never met, somebody that I don't think any of us in the room, well, Charlie, you know, Jason Merrill, former KMOX producer.
Oh, yeah.
Now the director of integrated corporate communications at Spire, a friend of
Wow,
yours. So
absolutely.
Jason Merrill on the line. Jason, say hi to Chris and congratulations and whatever other embarrassing things you'd like to say to him.
Hello and congratulations, Chris.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so my background, I started at KMOX in 94 and moved over. I started in sports and moved over to programming and producing Total Information AM. And, Chris was with Charlie. And I always admired you, Chris, for, the A-list guest you were bringing on the air consistently during that time. It made all of us, kind of chase after you to keep up, to make sure that we were kind of meeting the level that you were bringing to the table. And I don't know if I've ever told you that, but no, it really made a difference to KMOX. and we've stayed in contact over the years. And you told me you were retiring a couple of weeks ago when we were on the phone. And not a lot of people who are radio producers get to retire from the same station that they started at. And that's a testament to KMOX, but to you too. Not a lot of us, stick around that long and succeed the way you have. And so, congratulations to you.
Well, thank you very much. And I will say it's a group effort. It's a team effort here. Fred Bottomer, Jason, Peggy Cohill, we all made each other better because we were all, it was a friendly competition, but we were all trying to get the best guests. And I think it elevated, each one of us elevated each show and made everyone better and made overall the station better.
Man,
you used to razz me for just being asleep by the fax machine.
I did.
Fax machine is like the guest offer was rolling in, and I was okay, yeah, sure, we'll have on the president.
We had a fax machine that these offers would come in and be like, "Hi, would you like to talk to?" And then over the print, Robert De Niro's doing interviews next week, and I think your desk was right next to the fax machine, and it would literally fall on your lap, and you're like, "Okay, I guess we'll have De Niro on next week." I would get so mad at you because that fax machine was sitting right next to you.
It was not sitting right next to me. That's not true.
Jason, thank you for doing this. We appreciate you. Good to virtually meet you. Hopefully we'll do it in person sometime, but thanks so much.
Absolutely. And congratulations, Chris.
Thank you very much.
There you go. So that's you're almost done, Chris.
You're almost done.
You got one more segment. We got a couple more things we got to do, and then you're free to be on your way.
To go back to writing my ascertainments.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, "Hey, I'm all shut down, help me," was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
Suburban Leisure Center has Adirondack chairs in stock and on sale now. Our amazing Adirondack chairs come in 16 colors and in lots of styles. Gliders, rockers, tables, and chairs. We even make an Adirondack chair with a pull-out ottoman. Also, many can be made to order. Hurry into Suburban Leisure Center now on Olive 1 mile west of 141 or check us out at suburbanleisurecenter.com, home of the Big Red Chair.
I hear all the time for years now, sign up and be a preferred customer. My best recommendation I give my customers is never, ever sign an agreement that states if you purchase from me, in order for you to maintain your warranty, you must pay me hundreds of dollars a year. My philosophy is to shoot everybody straight. My customers come first. When that phone rings, you do not have to pay to be priority. You are priority number one. When that phone rings, you're preferred. I would prefer you call me than the preferred company that you're paying hundreds of dollars to every year. So try them, then call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Save the number. There are unscrupulous people that are pretending to be me. It's one easy number, 314-293-2600. That's Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I, 314-293-2600, or the same spelling, Bart Inman, a B and an I.com.
The NBA Finals are here. Unlock every angle with coverage from the BetQL network. Get ahead of the game with early morning betting trends, game recaps, pick predictions, and more from the Daily Tip. Unlock the best bets for each game with BetQL Daily and You Better You Bet. And get live reactions to the biggest finals moments with BetMGM tonight. Listen on the Odyssey app or watch live and on demand on Twitch.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 314-946-9999. We buy houses direct. If you're thinking about selling, you're not sure where you're going to go, you can sign a contract with us. We are the buyer, and we can provide a flexible closing date for you. Once we've written a contract, we can actually adjust the closing date if you need to move it up or you need to move it back. A lot of people aren't sure where they're going to move next, and we can make it easy on you. ClaymanGroup.com, 314-946-9999, 946, all nines.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, proud customer of Banner Construction. One of the safest investments you can make today is an exterior renovation to your home. And Banner Homes have timeless beauty, striking curb appeal, and ultra-low maintenance. If you take pride in your home, trust it to the team of experts at Banner Construction. Since 1993, my friends at Banner Construction have engineered their projects to go beyond the basic low-cost solutions. You know, that's more than 25 years of experience. And now is the perfect time to call the experts at Banner Construction. They're ready to help. If you're looking for windows, you should know that Banner is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding has the rich look and feel of wood. And Banner's also a Platinum Certified Pella Window Contractor. Those Pella windows are beautiful, and they come with a 30-year warranty. 314-569-1050 or visit their website, bannerconstruction.com, and make sure you have a banner day.
Leaving a child in a hot vehicle can lead to their death very quickly. If you see a child left unattended and can't locate their parents, call 911. If the child looks unresponsive, do whatever it takes to get him or her out safely, including breaking the window. Your actions may save the life of a child.
The annual Swing for Kids golf tournament at Lake Forest Country Club is Monday, August 8th. Find out more information or register your team at communitylivingmo.org/golf.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444. Chris Ranji.
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
On the show.
All right, we're having a lot of fun on the first hour of a Friday here on the show. Obviously, Chris, Amy, and Kevin here. We've got Chris Myhill in. Last day at KMOX after 40 years, so we are celebrating the career with stories and fun things. Charlie Brennan still in studio. Fred Bottomer's here. He's got a story coming up in a minute as well. But our friend...
We think he does.
No,
he looks a little uncertain.
Hey, just cue it up. You don't have anything to live up to at all from the last hour, just more hilarity. So make us cry if you want to go that route. We also have another friend on the phone here for a couple of minutes. Our good buddy Ben Boyd wants to chime in. Ben, Ben, of course, longtime KMOX executive sports producer, my good friend, and obviously now in charge of the Cardinals Radio Network, has some things to tell you about, Chris. Hello, Ben.
Hey, yeah, they told me they wanted to save the best for the last segment, so here I am. But I was watching the video. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a viral video out, and I was watching it, and I was like, man, is that Chris Myhill? It's the guy that sings that new song, "The Money Don't Jiggle Jiggle." That guy looks just like Chris. But I wanted to say, it's so incredible to spend 40 years. I mean, I think Charlie's still there. I don't know if you can hear me,
yes,
but
sir.
Myhill being there for 40 years is almost more impressive than what Brennan's done, right?
Hey, no doubt. It's 41 years to be exact.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't go to Boston College, you could have shot a little higher.
For those that don't know, Ben went to Boston University. Little rivalry there.
That's true.
My favorite Chris Myhill story, though, is that no one really knew where he was born. And when I told people, no one would believe us, especially Dave Klein. I don't know what Dave's doing right now. But Chris was born in Mexico City, and I always asked him to bring me down there and show me around, but he didn't remember anything.
I was 8 years old.
But Ben, that's actually a pretty good point, because Chris did grow up in Mexico City, and one of the great mysteries about Chris is his expertise with the Spanish language. Would you like to share a few words with our listeners in Spanish?
No.
He grew up in Mexico City. He speaks no Spanish.
Oh, my God.
No, because when we moved here, I spoke perfect Spanish and English. And then I was 8 years old when we came to St. Louis. And the last thing you want to be is an 8-year-old kid standing out and speaking Spanish. And my parents said, no, you need to keep it up. We have to keep doing it. I'm like, nope. So.
Anything else, Ben?
I just want to say congratulations. I mean, now working with the Cardinals, I think maybe we should have Chris come over and throw out a first pitch.
I don't think I could top. I could not top Charlie's first pitch. By the way, that was. And by the way, there's one thing that Ben likes to do to fellow employees. What is that?
Likes to scare people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to plan in retirement is somehow scare the what out of Ben. That's going to be my goal for the next year and a half. It's just pull something on it just to get even for all these things that you've done to us.
Ben, we appreciate
That's
you,
a
buddy.
lofty goal, but you better watch out for me. I'm going to be hiding out of your house.
Ben doesn't sleep. He just waits. Ben, see you, buddy. We'll talk to you tonight at the game, bud.
All right, bye-bye.
You got it. That's Ben Boyd. Fred Bottomer is in studio here, too. And we want to give Fred a chance. You're a longtime coworker of Chris. Do you have anything you want to embarrass him with, or are we going to be nice here?
I don't think I have anything to embarrass him with. I just want to ask him, what year did you start officially?
81, part-time.
Okay.
But remember, from 87 to 92, I was working 60 hours a week, 30 hours on KMOX and 30 on the FM.
And that wasn't full time.
No, it wasn't. I went to Mr. Highland and I said, hey, can I get time and a half? He's like, well, you're only working 30 hours at KMOX. I can't pay you time and a half. And I'm like, well, it's combined. I'm on the FM for 30 hours. He's like, no, you're only 30 hours at each station. I can't give you full time or overtime.
You got to remember when we started, I started in 82.
Right.
There was no email. There weren't even computers.
No.
We had typewriters.
And newspapers.
And to find ideas, we'd be, we got maybe 15, 20
fighting over the newspapers.
Yeah. And then we'd just go through it. And our hands were just filled with ink.
Right.
And we'd just be looking. And then you'd have to call directory assistants in whatever city you wanted.
1411. Use that.
And that's how we would book guests. So things have really changed over that time. I mean, you were there for the birth of all of that.
Absolutely. And back then you literally had a Rolodex, an index card with, alphabetical and alphabetized, and all your guests were on it. And the bigger it was like, okay, look at this one.
We saw a lot of stuff, didn't we?
We did.
I mean, I'm trying to think of some great funny story, but mainly it was just the day-to-day. You were always there. And that's the comfort for me. I mean, you were my partner in time. Because people would always say, you're still at KMOX? How long you been there?
You guys are the biggest bunch of losers.
It's been 40 years, but so's Chris. Chris is still here, too.
At least I'm not Fred. Oh, never mind.
That's right. So, I mean, but we could always count on you being there whenever you needed a good producer. I mean, think of all the Kevin Colleen comedy shows that you did. The holiday radio shows, how you kept everybody on time.
And I kept trying to farm that off to you.
Yeah.
Like, Fred should do this.
Yeah, I had no one to do that. But it was just a joy to work with you.
Oh, thank you.
So professional. And that's why you got so many big guests, because everyone respected what you did and who you were.
Was I really that professional when
No,
I
not
wore
really.
the swimsuit to work? Was that professional?
All right, so we at least have to allow Chris one request here, one bit of control over what's going to happen in this hour. And you want to set this up for me to play it, or do you want me to just play it?
And the thing, when Amy came on board to the show, it changed everything. And I'm not saying it was a good thing. No, but she brought a great sense of humor to the show and a great laugh and personality. And we were talking one day about dropping kids off at college. And Charlie talked about dropping. He just dropped off his kid at University of Virginia. And I think I was on the way back from KU, and how sad it was. And then we started talking about dropping your kid off at college.
Well, when my parents dropped me off, I actually had a broken leg. And so I went to school.
That's so sad.
Give me Charlie.
I'm not here to be made sport of. I was about to tell you
I'm picturing like Tiny Tim. Please, sir, I'd like to learn.
It's true. I was in an automobile accident. The car flipped over 4 times. Some find that hilarious. And thanks.
On the way to school?
No. I had been in an accident. Well, I'll tell you what, it's nothing like the sympathy and empathy from colleagues that help you in difficult times. So I guess I'll hold that story for a different audience at a different time.
There's a visual that.
Folks, don't forget, if you ever get a chance to visit like a war memorial or Gettysburg, take Amy along and Chris. They'll just a lot of yucks on that. So that would conclude this week's program.
So how did you move in?
No, you don't deserve that story. No.
out of my life.
I wish. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, everybody.
There, we got your request
So,
in, Chris.
Those are the moments I love. You
Yeah.
know, when you're in every show has that. Ain't enough fun. Yeah.
He loves it when someone is skewered
No!
and humiliated publicly.
No.
He loves those moments.
Which is why you're getting this hour.
No.
Okay, how long do we have right
we
now?
have 40 seconds.
This is from John Hancock and Michael Kelly. Radio never just happens. It takes talented, conscientious professionals to provide the listener with quality information and entertainment. Chris Myhill is one of the true giants of KMOX. He worked every single day to make KMOX programming the highest quality possible. And he lists all the shows you worked on and said you improved the quality of every one of those shows and many, many more, stretching back 41 years. You are smart, funny, incredibly funny, insightful, up to date with current events, instinctive, spontaneous, and a delight to work with. Your legacy as part of the Voice of St. Louis is secure and well earned.
Chris, congratulations, my man.
Thank you to everybody. Thanks, Charlie, for coming in. Thanks for Amy working on this. I really appreciate it. I am really going to miss you guys.
We're going to miss you.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of precision.
That's the power of a skilled local team who know what they're doing.
The power of accurate estimates.
Estimates, not guesstimates.
The power of certainty.
CertaPro painters. That's the power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Guys, I want to talk to you for a minute, man to man, about erectile dysfunction and PE. How are you doing in the bedroom? Are you still the man you used to be? Or are you feeling the disappointment of ED? Are you experiencing the embarrassment of PE? Happens to a lot of us. That's why you should call Paramount Men's Medical Center. Their licensed physicians can help solve your problem. They'll talk to you about ED or PE. They'll offer custom blended medications. There's no pain or surgery, and you'll see results right in the office at Paramount Men's Medical Center. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, men are now lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history, and it's affordable. So, man to man, contact Paramount Men's Medical Center now for a private consultation. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your exam is free. Call 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
An Odyssey station.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's a mostly cloudy sky and 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. The Biden administration is lifting a COVID-19 travel restriction that has made traveling overseas difficult during the pandemic. CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick.
This rule required travelers to take a COVID-19 test within a day of boarding flights for the U.S. Airlines have long argued for it to be dropped. This is one of the last remaining government mandates. It'll be reevaluated every 90 days, but expires Sunday at 12:01 in the morning.
We're now getting more information from the Uvalde School police chief as to what happened inside Robb Elementary School as an 18-year-old gunman murdered 19 students and 2 teachers.
Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo telling the Texas Tribune he never considered himself the scene's incident commander and did not give the order for officers to stand down, as portrayed by the Texas Department of Public Safety. He did explain that law enforcement's delayed response was in part due to the inability to track down the keys to unlock the classroom doors and a lack of equipment needed to break the doors down. Arredondo also left his police and campus radios outside the school, so he had no contact with other responding officers or the 911 calls from inside the classrooms. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
It might not be long now until there's another COVID-19 vaccine choice available.
It's called Novavax, and it's currently going through the emergency use approval process from the FDA and then the CDC. Sumaya Assed is the clinical pharmacy manager for SSM Health Infectious Diseases.
This vaccine is a little bit more traditional. It is similar to other vaccines we've had in the past and have used for decades, like the influenza vaccine. So this contains a version of the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, and it also has an adjuvant, which is the booster ingredient. So this vaccine might help people who are still vaccine hesitant, since they are very familiar with this type of technology.
This would be a 2-dose regimen. It's already been approved in 40 countries. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Factor those high gas prices into your weekend.
The national average is almost $5 a gallon. Gas is $4.99 a gallon today, says the AAA. In California, it's $6.42. Higher gas prices have been squeezing both households and companies, putting pressure on the budgets. Crude oil prices are up by roughly 60% for the year. What's causing this? Well, much of it is because of Russia's war in Ukraine, but the AAA also blames high demand. More of us are fueling up for the summer driving season. By the way, if you're looking for the lowest prices, you could try Georgia, where it's $4.43 a gallon. I'm Rita Foley.
The average in the St. Louis area is $4.84 a gallon. The Jefferson Bank and Trust Business Desk, the costs of gas, food, and other necessities jumped in May, according to the Consumer Price Index, raising inflation to a new 4-decade high and giving American households no respite from rising costs. Consumer prices surged 8.6% last month from 12 months earlier. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
They have pretty much baked into our expectations that they will be raising interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. That's what they did at the previous meeting. But, I think with this hot reading, boy, I'll tell you what, there is a lot of talk about how the Fed may want to go to 75 basis points, 0.75%.
And the Dow from Stifel is down 731 points to 31,541. And we've got emergency vehicles on 70 East to 180 West. Watch out there. The exit's closed, 70 West to 270 North. Emergency vehicles on 70 East to 270 on the right shoulder. Stalled vehicle 270 North past 55. The right lane is closed.
More clouds and sun this afternoon with a shower thunderstorm in spots into this evening. High today near 80. Tonight, looking at a low of 64. Tomorrow, pleasant with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high of 84 degrees. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy and 71 in Florissant, 71 in St. Peters, and 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Visit Missouri. What makes for a great vacation depends on who you ask. No matter how you like to get away, Missouri is filled with beautiful destinations and incredible experiences for you to explore. Discover the possibilities at visitmo.com.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
It's Friday on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, of course, Kevin Wheeler with you here. A lot of ways that you can be a part of the show. In fact, we're really going to be asking for your input as we dive into some of the more serious stuff today. We just had a fun hour celebrating Chris Myhill's career, 41 years at KMOX. A lot of laughs and a lot of good times. And we'll have some of those again later on in the show, too. But we're going to make basically a complete 180 turn here and get to the biggest news of the day that relates back to the committee hearing, the Senate committee hearing, the congressional hearing last night that, it was fascinating on a lot of levels. And we're going to try to get into all of those. But the point I want to make is there are a lot of ways for you to interact, and we would like you to do that throughout the course of this show. So the easiest ways would be to text us, 314-436-7900. That text line is always open. That's also the call-in line. We may get to live calls later, but we also set up a voicemail line, a dedicated voicemail line for the show, 314-944-1120, 944-1120. And if you don't, if you're driving, whatever, you don't have a chance to write all that down or remember it off the top of your head, you can always just go to our Twitter handle. It's at the show KMOX. Everything is there, including links to watch us on YouTube, to watch us on Facebook as we're doing the show live, to download the Odyssey app so you can listen anywhere, anytime you want. And, of course, the reminder that you can listen to us on 98.7 FM as well. All right, so you guys, we all did this, and it, to a degree, what we saw last night, at the anticipation of it, the build up to it, the lead up to the hearings going public, right? They're being televised. It had the vibe of a sporting event, right? It's live. People are waiting. People are in anticipation. Lots of people are watching it. It certainly is not that. This is a very serious topic that's being discussed. And I just want to start with our initial impressions, like what you came away with. And I don't know who wants to go first, but obviously we want that from you as well. So 436-7900 for the text line, 944-1120 for the voicemail line. Ron, just how did you come away from it?
I don't believe I feel any different now than I did on the day it was happening and watching it take place live and just being generally appalled by what was going on. It was last night sort of felt like a mini retelling of that and a re-feeling of that, just watching what was happening on the Capitol grounds and how dangerous that day ended up being. And I guess in some respects, I sort of leading into that expected that something bad could happen. I don't think I expected exactly what happened on January 6th to take place. I didn't really think people were going to storm the Capitol. I thought there might be some violence, thought there might, just because of the rhetoric that was taking place leading up to that day, thought maybe that at rallies or something, in Washington, D.C., there might be some kind of violence and whatnot. I did not expect that to happen, but rewatching a lot of those things and hearing some of the testimony from the documentarian and especially the police officer who was there, who was knocked out. She was knocked unconscious, got up when she regained consciousness and went back to work. And then she got pepper sprayed, or rather she said did she say was maced or she was tear gassed? Yeah. She used the word tear gassed or the term tear gassed later on. All that stuff is horrific. And it's just a sliver of what happened that day.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I think it's important to establish as we look at these January 6 hearings, it's to understand that you can condemn what happened on January 6th, and it is not in any way somehow meaning that you're quote unquote joining the other team. I understand that people are upset about inflation. They're upset about gas prices. They can see the disastrous evacuation of Afghanistan as a failure that falls squarely on the shoulders of Joe Biden, though the seeds for that failure were planted under Trump as well. And you can be upset about all of those things and keep those things top of mind and still realize that it is profoundly important that we deal with what happened and the people who were involved in the insurrection on January 6th, when you had the Capitol stormed, when you had members of Congress, the House of Representatives, the Senate, Vice President Mike Pence, hiding, running for their safety because law enforcement was overwhelmed by a mob. And I also want to point out that you can be and should be very concerned and upset that Justice Kavanaugh was threatened by a man who traveled across the country to assassinate Kavanaugh, according to his own words, because he was upset about what was happening. And if these are not mutually exclusive events where you can only be upset about one. In fact, if you are upset about Kavanaugh, you should be extremely upset about what happened at the Capitol, and know that the way we deal with it, the way we handle the January 6th insurrection will be precedent setting for people who want to threaten and intimidate and harm politicians and leaders. And we have to, as a nation, say it will not be tolerated.
And a couple things that stood out from last night. I mean, one, last night is essentially the table setter. You know, they didn't prove anybody was guilty of anything. They didn't convict anybody last night. They were beginning the argument. And I mean, again, like a court case, the opening statements are not ultimately how it's going to play out. You've got a lot more evidence that has to be presented. You're going to have a lot more people testifying. And in the end, they'll come to conclusions, or they will tell us what their conclusions are at that point.
The recommendations.
Because I don't think that anything that happened last night was groundbreakingly new. I mean, there was some new video that was obviously revealing, because we had some body cam footage that we hadn't seen before, some of the documentary footage that we hadn't seen before. But I don't think last night changed what I saw in real time on January 6th. And what strikes me immediately before we get into who's bearing responsibility and what they specifically talked about last night, what is already stunning to me, and it's already starting on the text line, and it's coming. I know it's going to be happening throughout the show. And what drives me absolutely crazy is that we already have the pushback. Well, clearly the people that are investigating are against Donald Trump, and that means it's totally meaningless. Watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
Use your own eyes and watch what your fellow Americans were doing to police officers. Watch it. Don't listen to a political commentator. Don't turn it into what about this or what about that. Because if you were mad about what happened in the summer of 2020 with people who hijacked protests and started doing these violent things, if you were mad about that, as Amy said, you should be just as mad about the people that did those things on January 6th. And it wasn't everybody there. Stop saying that. Nobody's saying that it was every person that was in the Capitol that day. But we have on video, and we have guilty pleas from a lot of these people saying, yes, that was me. Yes, I did that. And I'm going to take the plea because I don't want to go to prison for 5 or 10 years. People were physically beating on police officers. One guy was doing it with the American flag. And if that stuff doesn't bother you...
There were hockey sticks. You saw it last night. There were hockey sticks being swung at police officers.
If you don't like the possibility that someone's message may be skewed politically in a way that you don't like, fine. Just watch the video. There are hours of video out there from that day, both inside and outside the building. And if that alone doesn't convince you, then you can't be convinced because you don't want to be.
And it's also important to note that if your problem is you believe this is a partisan committee, it was offered up to have an independent commission, and the Republican Party rejected that. The Senate rejected that idea. And when they were trying to appoint people to this committee that the House agreed to, but the Senate did not, there are 2 Republicans on it. There were 3 others that were going to be on it. A couple of them were rejected, but then the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, offered to replace those 2 with more Republicans. And McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy, backed out and said, we're not doing this. We're not doing it at all. Okay, well, that's why there are only 2 Republicans on this committee, because the Republican Party did not really want to participate. They did not want this to happen. That's just the reality. I'm telling you what happened. This all took place, and the rejection of it took place in May of 2021. So we could have had an independent commission investigating this, but there are people who do not want that at all in any capacity.
In a hyper-partisan and negative partisan environment, we are often too easily lured away from the truth because we don't like the messengers. And you can question the motivation of the messengers, but if it is, there is still truth that is not changed by who gives the message. And I think when we are truly open-minded and we realize, maybe you don't like Adam Schiff or Nancy Pelosi, but it doesn't mean that what they're saying is not true. The messenger, you may not like him, but the message is still true. And if anyone who is historically conservative and has been conservative long before Trump, there is no questioning the conservative dedication, devotion of Liz Cheney. And she spoke the truth last night. And so to suddenly rebrand conservative or Republican as purely pro-Trump is not politically or historically accurate.
Yeah, we're going to be obviously dealing with this heavily today. Again, if you want to participate, 314-436-7900 for the text line. We'll be happy to have your voicemails mixed in. It's 314-944-1120. Simple process. You call, you get a quick message, you leave your message, and you're done. You don't have to wait on hold or anything along those lines. So we'll continue the conversation as we continue the show here on a Friday on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. With a focus on community banking, who better to join us than Sandy DeMond, Senior Vice President and Director of Community Banking at Busey. She joined Jeff Burgess and me to discuss Busey's financial literacy programs available to both students and adults. Listen to our June podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of timeliness.
We show up when we say we will, on time and fully caffeinated.
The power of transformation.
Also known as making your house look so good, your neighbors will be jealous.
The power of certainty.
That's your local CertaPro painters. The power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Hello, I'm Ben Coons. Are you tired of paying high fees and commissions even when you lose your money? How would you like to never lose your money again due to market risk? Join me for the Retirement and Income Radio Show right here on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. You can also call me for your free Retirement and Income Kit and my Retirement and Income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
Why should I buy from you? Always ask. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter with Easter Fence Deck and Renovations. When working with Easter, you know it's not just about making a buck. Our commitment is to do what's right. We are a third-generation family business. A lot of pride goes into every fence, deck, and sunroom. Our name is on it, and we guarantee it. Even if it was the first job Dad did in 1957, if we didn't do it right or didn't do what we said, we'll fix it for free. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Attention business owners. This is a public awareness message from the ThrottleNet cybersecurity team. The war against hackers and ransomware is underway. The only way to prevent the war from impacting your business is to speak with the ThrottleNet cybersecurity team immediately. You need to act now. The ThrottleNet cybersecurity team is prepared to protect you against cyber threats. Schedule a meeting right away by visiting throttlenet.com/cyberwar.
Tired of the cookie-cutter feel of some new home communities? Discover the uniqueness of Lombardo Homes at Inverness. Inverness features variable setbacks throughout the neighborhood to create a park-like setting along the streets, as well as trails with pocket parks, loads of common ground, and 4 lakes. Inverness features custom homes ranging from 1,700 to over 2,500 square feet, priced from the high 300s. Tour our decorated display within Inverness, located on the north side of Fisey Road, west of Bryan Road. For more information, visit lombardohomes.com.
The voice of St. Louis. News that matters to you. KMOX.
All right, back in on the show. Amy, Chris, and Kevin here on KMOX on a Friday. We do have some text messages rolling in. We'll be getting into the voicemails here in a bit as well. So the text message is 314-436-7900. And, of course, the voicemail you can leave anytime, 24 hours a day, 314-944-1120. You can find all of that and all of the places where you can watch and listen by going to @the show KMOX on Twitter. All right, so I think we understand. I do, and I'm sure you guys do because we kind of kicked this around earlier, that nothing that happened last night and nothing that will happen in any of these hearings is going to get a consensus amongst people. We are not going to reach that. I think we all realistically agree on that, right?
Well, and I think we agree there are very few people that are going to change their minds that are already set now.
Right.
That's just not happening. I think everybody involved could have a press conference and say, yep, we encouraged everybody to come to the Capitol and storm it because we wanted it to be that way. And people would still be like, yeah, but I just don't think you're going to get anybody change their mind on this.
I agree with you because time has done this. And what I mean is I do think there was a window in the first 24 hours following the insurrection on January 26th, where as the videos show, the highest ranking officials in the Trump administration, his greatest allies from, again, his administration officials to Sean Hannity, my goodness, were saying, this is really bad. This needs to stop. And there is a mechanism for Congress to accelerate an impeachment for that to have happened in 24 hours. That is what I wish would have happened. That is what should have happened. Now, and let me make it clear. Even if you think, well, you can't impeach him because you'd have to prove that it was his language or his planning, that he was the one who incited the insurrection on January 6th. I would say yes, and that insurrection doesn't happen without him. However, you could impeach him solely on his lack of action on January 6th once the rioters stormed the Capitol. That was an abdication of duty that is unforgivable. He is the commander-in-chief. You could have impeached him solely on his lack of action.
The fact Mike Pence had to kind of go around him, essentially, and contact people and say, look, this is, we have to do something here. That's a major problem.
And let's point out, too, because this is going to come up.
Yeah.
There are people that are going to be, well, what about the mayor of Washington, D.C.? We're going to hear what about a lot with all of this. And I want to just point out, she failed, too.
Sure.
She absolutely failed. I was saying this to you guys in the office pre-show. How in the world, as the mayor of a major city, would you not anticipate the potential for something bad when you have thousands of angry people who are coming there because they're angry?
Mm-hmm.
How would you not anticipate the potential for a problem and be ready for the worst? In other words, hope for the best, but be prepared in case something goes. Now, I wouldn't have anticipated what happened. I wouldn't have.
Not to that degree,
But
no.
if I'm the mayor of a major city, also having seen what I saw in the summer of 2020, I think I would have wanted to be a little bit more on the more prepared side rather than the, oh, crap, I'm caught on my heels. So there's more criticism that can go to a lot of people is my point. But that's not what the hearings are about.
And just to clarify, when we're talking about the mayor of D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser, she actually interpreted what she saw during the riots in 2020 and took the opposite approach. She saw that it was confusing for law enforcement to have to deal with federal law enforcement that they maybe weren't familiar with, or maybe who were not dressed in clothes that identified them as law enforcement. And so Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., did specifically tell the Justice Department and Pentagon leaders on January 5th that she did not want federal officials to help with law enforcement. She said, to be clear, the District of Columbia is not requesting other federal law enforcement personnel and discourages any additional deployment without immediate notification to and consult with the MPD if such plans are underway. So we knew at least 4 protests would be happening, but she did not want federal help, partly because she felt that's what made it more chaotic. I'm not saying it's right. Again, I feel like that was a horrible decision, but that's why she made it.
And that's fine. But you have your own police department. You could have had deployed more strategically, had more bodies out there. I mean, I understand it all, but you're still a part of the decision-making process. Now, again, I want to be clear. Those things are all still true. We can criticize other people. That is not what the hearings were about last night.
No, and you're right. They could have had more officers on the scene, but I'm not sure there would have been enough police officers in that department to be able to handle what happened on that day. That nothing short of National Guard would have helped on a day like that.
I mean, maybe not, but I mean, at least
it would have been better,
at
maybe.
At least the visual of several hundred people
maybe that does deter.
As opposed to 20 people.
Maybe it deters at least some of the crowd.
And maybe not. But the point is,
we don't know.
Yeah.
But it is, I think you're right. It's a failure on at least some level here. But I know what the hearings are about, a much greater idea. And what set this off, who wanted it to happen, if anybody, and it kind of sounds like there were people who wanted what went on January 6th to continue, and should they be held responsible for it? And there could be a lot of people who are at fault for various things here, but let's start with the big picture here. And why did it happen in the first place? And should somebody be responsible for that? Kevin's doing hand signals over there.
Kevin,
I was trying to figure out the clock here.
Okay.
Trying to figure out the clock here. It wasn't like sending signals, like bat signals or anything.
Right. Well, again, as I was watching the videos, as Kevin said, I wasn't shocked by what I saw in the sense that it wasn't something like new.
Right.
We knew it was this bad. We had seen so many videos like this with police officers being beaten down, pushed, like you said, whether it was an American flag or a whatever else they used to inflict this violence. And as we look at what it was and what it wasn't, to me, January 6th was a culmination of the failure of President Trump to convince people the election had been stolen. Remember, January 6th was just days after his conversation with Raffensperger about the election, with calling Raffensperger saying, listen, can you find me votes? That was on January 2nd that he talked to Brad Raffensperger looking for votes. He's calling states for them to fraudulently find false evidence that he actually won the election. And then he failed. And January 6th is the culmination of his failure.
And before we continue, I just want to make this very clear, because I know there are people who are going to attack us and Amy. Amy is as conservative as anybody I know in the entire world that I know personally. She is speaking as a conservative on this.
We have a lot more ground to cover. Your reactions are coming up. I promised the text line's filling up. We'll check the voicemails as well. Rich Rubino's going to join us after the news.
The news of St. Louis.
A St. Louis County jail official pleads not guilty to 4 counts of wire fraud.
I fired Tony Weaver today. He was stripped of access to email and entry into all county buildings.
The county council majority at the time thought it was a good idea to hand Sam Page a blank check.
All 3 members of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen indicted last week on federal bribery charges have now resigned.
The last holdout, Aldermanic President Louis Reed, issued his letter of resignation late Tuesday afternoon.
The news of St. Louis, always on News Radio 1120, KMOX.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie Brennan for our friends, the Doctors. Greg Birdie, Runj Mahotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer, who are known as the Doctors, because they have performed surgery on the eyes of more than 200 area doctors. And why do doctors trust Birdie, Mahotra, Brusati, and Royer? These doctors have degrees from top universities. They spend a lot of time with their patients. They have a convenient location at 270 in Manchester, not to mention Sullivan and St. Peter's. And they're expert at many different disorders of the eye, including allergic conjunctivitis, which is just a fancy way of saying allergies. Your eyes become inflamed and red and itchy and watery. The treatment is available through lubricants, decongestants, and antihistamines. Probably not a do-it-yourselfer. Learn more by making that appointment today at 314-966-5000 and online at youridoc.com. I've been a patient here for more than 25 years. youridoc.com.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
At 11:30, we have a mostly cloudy sky. It's 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. President Biden is set to speak at America's busiest port with high inflation persisting. It's a problem that's eluded Biden's policy tweaks, deals brokered with the private sector, infrastructure spending, and regulatory actions. A Ukrainian presidential advisor says up to 200 Ukrainian soldiers are being killed every day in Russia's military onslaught. The slog in the Donbas region continues today, with the Ukrainian governor saying forces are fighting for every house and every street in the key city. The suspect and victim in Tuesday night's shooting outside a McDonald's at Hampton and Manchester are identified. St. Louis police say 19-year-old Terrence King remained at the scene where 23-year-old Kevin Henderson was found. Both were employees of the fast food restaurant and had gotten into an argument before the shooting. King is charged with first-degree murder. Emergency vehicles on 70 East to 180 West. Watch out there. Stalled vehicle 270 North past 55. The right lane closed. Weather is sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. This afternoon, more clouds than sun with a shower thunderstorm in spots through this evening. High today near 80. Clouds break tonight with a low 64. And then tomorrow, pleasant with a mix of clouds and sun and a high of 84. Chances are you have a lot of people who depend on you, your family, maybe even employees. Life insurance from Penn Mutual can provide you peace of mind and protect the most important people in your life. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. 73 degrees at the moment. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. For windows or siding, check out my friends at Banner Construction. Since 1993, my friends at Banner have engineered their projects to go beyond the basic low-cost solutions. That's more than 25 years of experience. And now is the perfect time to plan for this important project and do what the Brennans do. Call on the experts at Banner. They're ready to help. One of the safest investments you can make today is an exterior renovation to your home. And Banner Homes have timeless beauty, striking curb appeal, and ultra-low maintenance. If you take pride in your home, trust it to the team of experts at Banner Construction. If you're looking for windows, you should know that Banner is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding has the rich look and feel of wood. And Banner's also a Platinum Certified Pella Window Contractor. Those Pella windows are beautiful, and they come with a 30-year warranty. 314-569-1050, bannerconstruction.com.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
Tonight, it's the Cards and Reds. Ameren pregame show 620. First pitch 7:15 on KMOX and streaming on KMOX.com.
You're back in on the show. Chris Raji, Amy Marks, of course, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We're going to get back to your reaction to the Select Committee hearing that was aired last night, the 2-hour presentation, I guess is the way that I would put it. We have voicemails coming in. We've got your text coming. We are not ignoring them. We're going to get to them coming up in a little bit. We're happy to have our regular Friday guest, Rich Rubino, with us, of course, political author of many books, including the Political Bible of Humorous Quotations. You can find Rich on Twitter at Rich Rubino, POL. And Rich, I know we set this up in advance as we were talking about what we wanted to ask you about is things like this investigation that are going on right now. We can all think of gates from the past, right? Like Watergate and, my childhood, I remember I ran Contra. How unique is this process that we're seeing now? Is it similar to these other things? Are they different? Just from your perspective, knowing the history of this, what are we looking at?
Yeah, and you can go all the way back to the Teapot Dome scandal, the Harding administration, but I won't bore you with that. I think, though...
Raji raised his hand. I guess he got that.
He loves that scandal.
I love it. My favorite.
Maybe we can do a whole show just on the Teapot Dome scandal. The funny thing about that is actually Harding himself was extremely popular by the time when he died in 1923, before this story really broke. And then by 1924, there was as the scandal really came to light, his job approval ratings really fell. But interestingly, one of the people who ended up going to jail, the first person to actually the first cabinet official to actually be indicted and convicted was Albert Fall. So I guess he was the Interior Secretary. So I guess he was kind of the fall guy.
Can I ask you about it? We keep talking about with scandals, there's always this implication of action and, conspiracy. But has there been a scandal based on criminal passivity, meaning an abdication of duty? Because on January 6th, even if you erased all of Trump's rhetoric leading up to that day, in that moment as the commander-in-chief, my reaction was that he had an abdication of duty that was tantamount to sedition. Has there been someone like a president who has not taken action, and that has been what they've been charged with?
This is not an actual president, but there was a presidential candidate. And if you go back to 1968, Lyndon Johnson, the Democrat president, had the South Vietnamese and the North Vietnamese agree to meet with the United States to try to iron out a peace deal, which would have effectively ended the Vietnam War. And President Tu, the South Vietnamese president, was scheduled to attend. But Richard Nixon, who was the Republican nominee, knowing that if there were to be a peace agreement, he likely would lose to Hubert Humphrey, who was Lyndon Johnson's vice president, sent an emissary, Anne Chennault. This is President Tu, the U.S. ally, to tell him that he could get a better deal if he were to pull out of the peace talks under the Nixon administration. So a few days, this is about a week before the 68 election, about a week before the election, President Tu pulls out of that. So, and actually President Johnson had this on tape because he was essentially using the FBI, and he knew this. He talked to Everett Dirksen, the Senate Minority Leader, and he basically said that this is treason. And Hubert Humphrey knew about this, and Hubert Humphrey and Lyndon Johnson did not release this information. This wasn't an actual president himself, but it was a presidential candidate. That would probably be the one thing I would say is tantamount to what's actually going on with Donald Trump contemporaneously.
So if you try to use history as a guide, what is the most likely outcome moving forward here?
The most likely outcome is essentially it'll be very similar to what happened in Iran-Contra. They will issue a report, and the report will essentially condemn Donald Trump. But that being said, Donald Trump is still, if you look at the polls, he's the preponderant front runner for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024. And there are polls that show him about tied with Joe Biden. So theoretically, I think that you got to remember about Donald Trump. He's never gotten to 50% in the polls, but he is about 40% of the country that will just about die for him right now. And is consequently, as a result of that, I don't really see the needle necessarily moving on that. I think that most people who are Trump supporters will immediately say this is part of the liberal media, this is part of the conspiracy, this is essentially all a scam. And people on the other side will essentially say, look at this is Donald Trump committing sedition, this is Donald Trump committing treason. But, I mean, you're really talking about maybe 10 or 11% who are actually in the middle right now. One interesting thing, though, is both Iran-Contra and in the Watergate scandal, there were Republicans who landed up being very critical of their own president. You go back to Watergate, for example. First of all, there was Lowell Weicker of Connecticut, and then you had Bill Cohen of Maine. And then you go to this is really interesting. If you go back to the House, to the Select Committee that investigated Iran-Contra, there was another Cheney who was on the Select Committee, and he was the actually ranking member, and that was Dick Cheney. And he said that essentially Ronald Reagan had a case study in training the president and his staff on how not to conduct foreign policy. So Dick Cheney was critical of Ronald Reagan. Newt Gingrich at the time, congressman from Georgia, said he'll never have the trust he had before essentially Iran-Contra. So there are Republicans who are critical in both times of their president. Now, currently, other than Adam Kinzinger and essentially Liz Cheney and a couple of governors around the country, there are very few Republicans who are willing to go at Donald Trump because they know essentially that Donald Trump is probably more popular because they represent very conservative states and districts, that Donald Trump is a lot more popular among their constituents than they are, and Donald Trump supports a primary opponent that is very dangerous, that's perilous essentially for their own political survival.
Rich, in modern times, and obviously this means like outside of the Civil War when Americans were literally on the battlefield against each other. When's the last time any of this kind of thing was this divided? Because, I mean, you look at some of those previous scandals and there were people, whether it was Watergate, Iran-Contra, whatever it happened to be, who could recognize the fault of their own side. And it feels like now that's just not going to happen. Like, no matter what set of facts are presented, no matter what video tells us, we're just not going to agree that it was a problem. And again, I don't know that I would criticize one team more than the other team, but in my adult life, I don't remember it being this way before.
Yeah, well, first of all, in the case of President Nixon was not necessarily a base president. He was somebody who was more of a compromise candidate in 1968. So as a result, there were not necessarily full throttle support among conservatives. Many conservatives did not like the fact that he went to China, the fact that he had established détente with the Soviet Union. So consequently, during the Watergate scandal, his job approval rating went down to about 24%. Only Harry Truman at the end of his term at 22% was more unpopular. In the case of Ronald Reagan, he was considered a conservative president, certainly when he ran in 1980. But if you look at his second term, when Iran-Contra and after he increased taxes, there were many Republicans who were very incredulous of Ronald Reagan as well. In the case of Donald Trump, he is such a polarizing figure. It's amazing. So much of American politics today is simply, are you for Trump or are you against Trump? In terms of has there been a time as divisive as this? I would say the 1960s when you had civil rights, you had the race riots, and you had certainly the Vietnam War. But that was also in many respects within a party, because in the Democratic Party, you had folks like Lyndon Johnson supporting the Vietnam War, but then you had others like Eugene McCarthy opposing it on civil rights. Within the Democratic Party, you had President Johnson, Hubert Humphrey, Robert Kennedy supporting it, and then you had most Southern conservative Democrats being opposed to it. So that's probably the similitude I would say would be the 1960s to today.
We discussed a poll or a survey from last week by the Southern Poverty Law Center that found 44% of respondents, and this is both Republicans and Democrats, believe we are headed toward a civil war. And it wasn't a majority of people, but an uncomfortable amount of people who believe that violence might be necessary or that assassination is okay if you believe a politician is threatening democracy or threatening the country. How likely or how scared should we be that we are headed towards some sort of civil war or some sort of widespread violence?
Yeah, and I mean, it certainly is a scary situation. I do not think it will be a regional thing like the first Civil War, because there are so many red parts of blue states and there are so many blue parts of red states. Just a state like Texas, for example, you have Austin, Houston, and Dallas, and you go to who are relatively democratic cities within conservative states. So I don't know what the actual war would be. I think you're going to see more insurrections. You're going to see more skirmishes in the capitals. But as I say, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a east-west or a south-north type of a thing. But I do think that it's going to be essentially more January 6th type events. And even with Donald Trump when he exits the political stage, I think the question within the Republican Party will be, will the party go back to where they were before Donald Trump, or is Donald Trump really defined what it means to be a conservative? And on the Democratic side, I think the question is the Democratic Party the party of Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton, or is it the party of essentially the AOCs and the left wing of the Democratic Party? And it's interesting because there's always that time, because one thing I'll say about politics is it's not a continuum, it's not a straight line. There are points where the left and the right meet. So sometimes you have instances where Josh Hawley works with Bernie Sanders, for example, but it will not be a regional thing.
Rich, we appreciate you. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on again.
You got it. Rich Rubino obviously studies the history of politics. He's a well-known author. Books like The Political Bible of Humorous Quotations from American Politics, Make Every Vote Equal. What a novel idea. That's one of his books. And, of course, you can find Rich on Twitter at Rich Rubino, RUBINOPOL.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Zero Res. This month, Zero Res is offering a 3-room special starting at just $129 plus a free room of fiber protectant and $75 off air duct cleaning. So every year, the average home takes on 40 pounds of dust and dirt and pet dander and dead skin cells, all the nastiness of life. And it's not good for anyone, but it's especially bad if someone in your family suffers from allergies or asthma or COPD or is in some way compromised. So the Zero Res 12-step professional source removal process guarantees your home will be clean to the absolute highest standard. Check out our 3,900 rave reviews, 4.9 Google rating. No one has that. We do. That's 3 rooms, Zero Res clean, starting at just $129 plus $75 off your air duct cleaning, plus 1 room of fiber protectant when you call 314-474-2020 or log on to ZeroResSTL.com.
Get great money for your old money. SNL Coin is always buying Morgan Silver dollars and Peace dollars. SNL Coin is always buying Walking Liberty half dollars and Franklin half dollars. SNL Coin is always buying 90% silver coins, dimes and quarters. SNL Coin is always buying silver bullion rounds and bars. Call SNL Coin, 9300 Gravoy Road, 544-3600 before you sell. SNL Coin also buys scrap gold, gold filled, silver plate items, and sterling flatware. Precious metal gets you better money at SNL Coin.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
CertaPro commercial painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of minimal disruption.
We work with you to ensure a smooth project,
The power of making you look good.
making sure it's done right, on time and within budget, so every property manager looks like a hero. That's CertaPro painters.
The power of pro.
Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Tune in this weekend for Everyday Wealth with Soledad O'Brien and Gene Chatsky, presented by Edelman Financial Engines. Your hosts and their guests will explore how our financial decisions shape our everyday lives. For airtimes, visit everydaywealth.com.
Make a difference in the lives of people with disabilities. Become a direct support professional at Community Living, starting at $18 an hour. Go to communitylivingmo.org/careers.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Amy, Chris, and Kevin.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
What is it? What's happened? What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
Well, what's trending on the show right now is that the text line's blowing up. Everybody's got reaction to the hearing that was aired last night. And this is what, the first of 6? Is that what they said last night? I think it's 5 or 6 of them.
5, yeah.
So we got a lot more ground to cover. And keep in mind, that was kind of like opening arguments last night. There were no absolute findings that were put forward. That was what you heard basically was the prosecution making their opening argument. That's what that was last night. Voicemail line is open, 944-1120, 314-944-1120. We're going to hit a couple of those in a few minutes. Text line is open too, and it's popping, 314-436-7900. All right, so let's bounce around. I want to throw in reactions that are coming in every direction. I'm not going to pick one direction and go
I
there.
love One Direction.
Stop it.
Well, they broke up.
Stop it.
Okay. Is that Harry Styles?
Harry Styles.
Okay, sorry.
So here's one that obviously disagrees with where we were earlier. It says January 6 hearings run by Trump haters, and the facts will be spun to prosecute him. Definitely not a fair investigation. A real insurrection would have had attackers with AR-15s ablazing, right? Not necessarily, because we saw one that didn't.
Yeah,
Right?
and I will say this.
And I think people are maybe playing word games here.
Yeah.
It's semantics, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
that
that's
is.
part of the problem.
And remember, the more partisan you are, the less likely you are to take anything that the other side says as having any truth whatsoever. You just discredit whole realities. And Fox News did not air the January 6 hearings last night. They aired it on Fox Business, which is basically not airing it. That is a big deal because we have those on the right watching Fox, right? A lot of people on the left watching whatever it is, CNN, MSNBC. That means these two parties are still not seeing the same thing. And I would wager that there are some who exclusively watch Fox News who have not seen the videos that we all took for granted that the entire world has seen.
I'll tell you a perfect example. I got this email 10 minutes ago. So a friend of mine who is in law enforcement, okay, I won't say which one because he wouldn't want me to, and I'm not going to mention his name. But a friend of mine, we were talking about the very issue, and he said, nobody really knows what happened on January 6th. And I'm like, you didn't see the videos? So I sent him like 20 links to videos. And later on, he followed up with, I hadn't seen those before. And I'm like, really? You're in law enforcement and you didn't see that? And here's what his response to me was. He said, I guess I didn't want to see it. He said, but probably I'm also guilty of what I say about other people watching other networks. He says, I'm a Fox guy. They didn't have a lot of these videos for public consumption. And
but he was honest. I do give him credit.
Well,
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
And again, I know that all of us are that way at some point.
Right.
And the fact that it's hard to admit that we sometimes don't want to hear something that would make us angry or that would contradict a strongly held belief. This is not just a conservative thing. This is something that happens to a lot of people. But it is something that people have to work to acknowledge. And, the reason I say I get that response from him because he's a friend. We know each other a bit.
Right.
We have an honest conversation. I've admitted to things that I've gotten wrong. We've had that rapport. Now, we argue a lot, this friend and I. But on this point, it was a very simple thing. Like, I didn't see it because the people that I watched didn't show it, and I didn't seek it out. And I wonder how many people that have that same reaction fall into that same category. And I also wonder how many of them get mad at left-leaning people for doing the same thing in their own view. Because again, I don't think this is a one-party thing, but in this case, it is.
Yes.
In this particular case, it is because a lot of people don't want to believe their guy could have done anything like this.
And I believe I'm guilty of that to an extent as well. But what I really, honest to God, try to do is find consensus. I try to find, and then the same thing goes for when COVID was happening. I was not listening to the one person that was going to tell me what I wanted to hear. And if I wanted to hear that this wasn't a real thing and we didn't really have to do all this stuff and it was just a hoax or whatever, I could have done that. But I try to find the consensus. I try to find like what most of the networks are talking about, not what one specific network is talking about. What are 4 or 5 of them discussing right now? And honestly, if I'm being truthful, I really don't watch cable news unless an event is happening and I want to see images. I want in real time. Like if I want to see what's happening in real time on video, then I will find a network to watch.
Yeah, and I think we have other reactions that are similar to that.
Right.
And I would agree with you that I can't watch the news networks on TV because I don't want to be spun. I don't want to see opinion disguised as news. And we talked about the CNN thing. Hopefully they will follow through with that plan to stay away from partisanship.
The breaking news banners and the partisanship.
It's not there yet.
And can I add this? We had a commenter say that Fox News had some of it on, but they talked about it all evening. And I just want to clarify, yes, talking about it is not the same as covering the hearings themselves. So Fox News did not take the hearings live. Instead, they had Tucker Carlson on. And to show an example, Tucker Carlson was hosting Darren Beatty. Darren Beatty was a former staffer for Representative Matt Gaetz. And if you look at Darren Beatty's Twitter account from January 6th, he said, quote, among other things, Tim Scott needs to learn his place and take a knee to MAGA. Kay Cole James of Heritage Foundation needs to learn her natural place and take a knee to MAGA, which is offensive. But so that discussion they were having was not the hearings.
And so that's what we are talking about here. And I'm talking about, I want to see images. I don't want somebody to tell me what's happened. If this hearing is happening, it's not a trial, but if this hearing is happening in real time, let me see it with my own eyes. I don't want Tucker Carlson to tell me what he thinks of it.
Or Anderson Cooper.
Or Anderson Cooper. And, I want to see it happen, and then maybe I'll watch after the fact, see how other people are seeing what did happen.
I turned it off immediately after.
I think I watched for maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, and I started making food. I wasn't paying attention, really.
All right, so we got another text here. It says, I'm upset, which you guys, I'm sure, understand is normal. But said most libs mostly ignore Antifa and BLM violence, which, by the way, I get this argument all the time. I have to look this up all the time. There were more than 13,000 arrests.
That's right.
In the summer of 2020.
And that's exactly what should have happened. Everybody who caused destruction. I am okay with peaceful protesting.
Put them all in jail.
Anybody who caused destruction, if they're found, go to jail.
Thank you.
Suffer consequences.
But that part, obviously, I agree with this point, though, in that part was not followed up on well enough.
Yes, and I'll kind of add to that why people may feel really betrayed by media like CNN. There was the famous image of the reporter talking about the mostly peaceful protest,
wow.
And the Chiron was mostly peaceful protest, and like the buildings are burning down behind him. That's not a great look, and we're saying that, but again, that is separate than what happened on January 6th.
I think context matters, because there were people who were legitimately trying to stop a peaceful transition of power. That is a very, very big problem.
Yes, and there were people doing terrible things the previous summer, but it wasn't everyone there, just like it wasn't
and those
everybody.
people should go to jail too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. And a lot of them are in jail right now as part of that. And to finish up that thought from that same texter in the 314 said, all major media are one-sided on most issues, and I think that's pretty much accurate. I mean, I think most outlets, you got to know where to go, though. You can find just plain straight news if you look for it, but you're not going to get it on Facebook. And you're not going to get it on a 24-hour news network at this point.
Or you read a bunch of newspapers from a bunch of different outlets and find where the common consensus is.
I always look for consensus.
You see where
see where it is.
Like Rich Rubino said earlier. See where the circles cross over.
Consensus isn't going to be right, but it'll lead you in a good direction.
Hey, more of your texts coming up, your voicemails as well, and of course we'll talk some baseball and catch up with Mike Claiborne a little bit later on as well. It's the show on KMOX.
You may find yourself in a beautiful house.
It's open season for enchantment. Join Opera Theater of St. Louis for its 2022 festival season, which includes Mozart's whimsical fairy tale, The Magic Flute. Prince Tamino is on a high-paced adventure to save Panina from the clutches of sorcerer Zarastro, armed with nothing more than a magical flute and his easily distracted friend, the birdcatcher Papageno. Featuring some of Mozart's most charming music, this opera will delight children and adults alike. The 2022 festival season also features Bizet's iconic opera, Carmen, and two world premiere operas, Awakenings, based on the true story of Dr. Oliver Sacks, and the new performing edition of Harvey Milk, inspired by the life and death of the gay civil rights icon. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more at experienceopera.org.
Indoor plumbing, been around for decades, right? Well, when you have a problem with it, you need a plumber, and Beast Plumbing wants to be that plumber. I'll give you their contact information at the end of this, so get your phone ready so you can punch in their information. But when it comes to the flavor of the water that comes out of your tap, they have ways that they can improve that with different water filter systems, reverse osmosis systems. They are water treatment specialists at Beast Plumbing, and they can take care of that for you. Something simple like not enough water pressure coming out of your shower head, Beast Plumbing can take care of that too. And they've got another thing that's going on for the month of June. They've got $40 off all hose bibs. And a hose bib is a small faucet attachment on the outer wall of your home that gets you water to your backyard or to your driveway to wash your vehicle. No problem. Beast Plumbing's got that deal going. Get a hold of them as soon as you can by calling 314-698-1154 or beastplumbing.com. That's BEIS plumbing.com. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to Beast Plumbing.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
An Odyssey station.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me. It was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 74 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. In an interview with the Texas Tribune, the police chief of the Uvalde Police Department, School District Police Department, defends his actions during the response to the deadly shooting.
In his first major interview since the shooting, Uvalde School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo told the Texas Tribune he intentionally left his police and campus radios behind, needing both hands free to hold his gun, that he would have tried to shoot the gunman, but the doors to both adjoined classrooms were locked, reinforced with a steel jam, and could not be kicked in. The gunman's bullets pierced the classroom door. He called for tactical gear, a sniper, and extraction tools, praying as he tried dozens of keys that failed to work. Arredondo says he didn't consider himself the incident commander or issue orders that other officers should not attempt to breach the building as the massacre unfolded. More than an hour passed before officers were able to recover a key to unlock the door and fatally shoot the gunman. I'm Jennifer King.
The CDC is set to lift its requirement on international air travelers to get a negative COVID test before re-entering the U.S. More from CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg.
Intense lobbying to the Biden administration, not only by the travel industry, but by many foreign governments, claiming they were being economically disenfranchised by this pre-departure testing rule, the United States being the last remaining major country holdout. Now that it's going away, a lot of Americans who wanted to travel overseas but were worried about the impact of getting tested positive once they were there, that also goes away. And we're going to see already airfares start to rise as Americans want to go back overseas and are going to be doing so with just a little bit more confidence.
The move goes into effect this Sunday at midnight and will be reassessed by the CDC in 90 days. More baby formula is on its way to the U.S. Here's CBS's Steve Dorsey in Washington.
The White House says Delta Airlines will fly another shipment of Kendamil formula from London to Detroit and Boston. The flights will deliver more than 212,000 pounds of the formula starting June 20th. It's the sixth so-called Operation Fly Formula mission to help alleviate a formula shortage after a key plant was shut down.
That Michigan plant has restarted production for one type of formula that it hopes to make available for sale later this month. Madison County Transit says it's seeing more instances of graffiti and vandalism along its trail system lately, especially in tunnels, as well as illegal dumping. The agency is offering a $1,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of any vandals. Most of the graffiti is around Edwardsville and Glen Carbon. MCT has 130 miles of trails. It's almost frogging season. Missouri Department of Conservation says it begins at sunset on June 30th and runs through the end of October. Those who want to partake need a fishing permit or a small game hunting permit and may hunt for bullfrogs and green frogs. There is a daily limit of 8 frogs of each species, totaling 16 frogs. The Jefferson Bank and Trust Business Desk Sunday marks a new era for Russia's fast food lovers as former McDonald's restaurants reopen under new branding and ownership.
Last month, McDonald's announced it was selling its restaurants in Russia due to the invasion of Ukraine. McDonald's has been hugely popular in Russia since it first arrived more than 3 decades ago. The relaunch will begin on Russia Day, a patriotic holiday celebrating the country's independence. It will take place at the same flagship location in Moscow's Pushkin Square. That's where McDonald's first opened in Russia in January of 1990. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
The Dow from Stifel is down 848 points to 31,424. Roads look clear.
A shower or thunderstorm in spots through this afternoon and evening. Otherwise, more clouds and sun. High today near 80 degrees. Tonight, quiet, low 64. Tomorrow, pleasant. Intervals of clouds and sun, high of 84. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Benz on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's cloudy and 73 in Florissant, cloudy and 74 in St. Peters, and 74 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
12:04 on the show here on KMOX. Obviously, a lot going on. We are continuing with your reaction. We want you guys to be a part of the show, man. We don't want it to be us and you. We want it to be all of us as a we, even when we don't agree.
The royal we?
The royal we, yes.
Is that a thing, royal we?
Where
royal
the queen,
you
the
is.
Queen will say, the queen will say, we think that we should do. That means me and God. That's what that means. The royal we means.
Oh, I thought the royal we meant everyone in England.
Well, it does. It's like the whole thing, but it's like when the king or queen speaks, they speak on their behalf, but also on the behalf of God, which is why they say we.
How can this show be so smart yet so stupid?
You know what? You got to have
How is
balance.
that possible?
Hey, listen, it's called balance.
Oh, yeah.
It's called balance.
Is it fair and balanced?
So here's how we're going to keep on rolling with this. We'll see. We'll see. But we will be with how we gauge our reaction. Like, for example, we have a voicemail we're going to play in a minute. We have no idea which direction it's going to go. We're just going to let it go. You can be a part of the show anytime you want on the voicemail line. It's 944-1120. And we're going to do these every day, especially on the big topics. And that's going to start here in just a couple of minutes. We want your text as well, 314-436-7900. And there are many ways you can listen and watch and interact. They are all listed on our Twitter page, at the show KMOX. You can, the 98.7 FM, 1120 AM, Odyssey app, YouTube link, Facebook link, the number for the voicemail and the text line. Everything you need is there. So you just remember that. You can find out how to get in touch with us. We'll get to that voicemail in a second. A couple of other text messages I want to throw in here because I'm trying to mix them up. We got a mix of people that are angry about the hearings and angry about our takes on them. Some people are happy about it. Some people are kind of in between, which, again, I'm trying to find a way to mix them up somewhat equally so we can get everybody's reaction in here. We got one that says about Amy's comment that you can be a conservative and be a Republican and does not mean you have to be a Trump person. This is from Donald in Illinois. He said, an objective evaluation of Donald Trump's positions demonstrates him to be much more of a populist than a conservative. As a former state legislator, lifelong conservative and Republican, I am deeply disappointed in the party's leadership in D.C. on this issue. And again, that's Dale from Illinois.
Thank you.
Dale, thank you for the text.
The text.
And again, when people agree, we're probably going to keep it simple. Like, thank you. Like, because I think it's important to bring in disagreement as well.
Yeah.
So again, the good messages, we love you. And we obviously are happy to hear that you agree with us on something. But I think it's also more important to address disagreement because that's the only way you move anything forward.
Yeah, but to be clear, it's interesting. The three of us come from very different political leanings. Yes. Okay.
I just hate everybody. Everybody.
You
Not you
do
guys.
not.
I don't hate you guys.
No.
Okay.
I just hate most people.
I find that I don't like most people.
All
We
right.
should come together, but I hate everybody.
All right. We got a couple of other ones.
What a real contradiction.
I know.
And another texter here, 636, says, I've not heard anyone say that the insurrection was a good thing. The program should be more objective. I don't know that
I would, and I asked that person to make the argument it was a good thing. So I'm waiting to hear
no, but
back.
I mean, nobody has, we're not really fighting the straw man there. Nobody suggested it was good.
No, I think I read that text as, why aren't you making the argument that it's a good thing? You're saying it's a bad thing. And I said, okay.
Well, let's address it both ways to make sure we cover it. So there's the straw man argument, like, nobody's saying that. Why would you guys argue that somebody's saying it's good? I don't know that. Well, I mean, let's be honest. There are people that thought it was good.
Well, and I just
they're called the Proud Boys.
Yes.
They're
Oath keepers.
called the Oath Keepers.
Yeah.
There were plenty of people who got up on TV and were pushing the narrative behind this because they thought it was a good thing.
Let's go back to the hearings. And these were videos that if you weren't watching the Senate hearings live, this is why it's important to watch it so that we can all say, yes, we saw this video of whether it's, Bill Barr talking or General Mark Milley, talking about January 6th. And in that moment and closer to that time period, some of Trump's closest advisors and those surrounding him and his deepest supporters were saying, this is something horrible. The president needs to do something. This needs to stop. But as time passed, they tempered their comments for the public at best, and at worst, they changed the narrative completely to, whether it's Trump saying, oh, these are good people, to Trump saying, oh, these are Antifa. The response is completely based on partisan politics. And that's why these videos are important to see that say, hey, this guy who's been telling me that, oh, it wasn't that bad or it was a few people, in the moment, he was talking about the gravity of the situation.
I'm going to use COVID as an example on this because I do recall when everything shut down that first week in the country and people were at home, my thinking was, okay, this is not going to be good because people are just not going to want to do any of this. And I was surprised that initially, very, very, very early on, I felt like we were getting, 80 to 90% of compliance. And I hate to use the word compliance because people think that has a negative connotation. But when you are being asked to please stay home, to please do this, it seemed like people were following it. And as time went on and as the politics started to take hold of the situation, there was more and more and more pushback. And then it became a political thing when it should have been a health thing all along. So I do believe you're right, Amy. Time has everything to do with why we're in this place right now.
Let's turn on my microphone first and foremost. Let's get to the voicemail. And again, it's 944-1120 if you'd like to leave us a message and get your response on what we're talking about today, which is the hearing from last night.
Good morning. One of the biggest problem with this is that our politicians have forgotten that what the purpose of the government is. They think the purpose of it is to provide them a plush job and give them lots of power to exert their will instead of being there for the people. And until we get politicians that do remember what the true purpose of government should be, we're going to have this partisan bickering among the two sides. Thank you.
I mean, I can't disagree with the basic theme there. I mean, look, there are, I don't think, and maybe you guys disagree with me, I don't think that there are enough people in those positions that are there because they want to do a good job. I think they're there because they want to stay there. And staying there becomes more important than doing something. And the way you stay there is you stay along the lines of what your party's saying, because you keep the support, the financial support. You don't get primaried. You don't have opposition from within your own party as long as you're pleasing the people there. And I think their survival in that job is more important than the quality of the job they do to them.
You know what? It's a very difficult thing to quantify. I do believe there are quite a few politicians who really want to do good for their constituents. They're probably mostly in the House, I would guess, or at least people who have ideologies that they really, truly believe in. And they're trying to serve those ideologies, to serve their constituents. I really do think there's a lot. I would love to know what the exact percentage is. It's unknowable.
It's a lot to a little.
And
probably, you're probably right, but I also think it's a lazy argument. And this is not what you're saying, but there are a lot of people who make this argument, and it's very lazy that, all politicians are crooked. They're all bad. I mean, they're not.
The system's rotten, though.
Maybe.
But I think
there are flaws in the system.
We can talk about politicians and we can talk about flaws in the system, but the point of January 6 hearings, the point of the January 6 hearings is that you had the culmination of that with the man with the highest ranking position in the country for his own self-gain, for his own power, turned the country against itself. As the U.S. Capitol Officer Caroline Edwards said, you had to defend the Capitol from fellow Americans. And that is what was so profoundly depressing and grave, is that he turned the country against itself in an act of profound self-serving megalomania. I truly believe, because we saw it happen, he would watch the country burn if he thought it would cast a light on him one more time.
Well, this was one of my issues with him prior to the election in 2016. And it was some weeks before. I don't remember if it was a couple or if it was a month. He started to lay the foundation for the possibility he was about to lose. And he said, this election's rigged. This election's rigged.
If I lose,
the election's rigged. And then he won. And I truly believe there was a huge part of him that was like, oh my God, I won. I can't believe I won. Now I have to be president. There was never going to be a scenario. And all you have to do is go back and look at his life as a celebrity, as a public figure. He was a public figure for 30-something years before he was a politician, a real politician. This is somebody that just can't lose. in his mind, he can never be a loser.
Can't accept it.
He loves to call other people losers.
Because obviously
you're a
he
loser.
can lose because he did.
Yeah, you're a lightweight. You're a loser. He loved to use those kinds of terms for other people. It is the exact kind of mentality that is not going to be able to accept losing. And if he did lose, it was going to be because something nefarious happened. There was no way he would just lose. He tried to set this up before 2016 and obviously 2020. I always felt like something like that was coming. If he loses, he's going to make a big mess of this or try to as much as he can. And that is exactly what happened.
All right, we're going to continue, obviously, with your reaction. We have more text messages. We'll check the voicemail line. We are going to talk baseball in our normal spot at 12:30. And then, of course, we're going to talk to Mike Claiborne after the 1 o'clock hour. Mark Reardon's going to jump in with a little bit for us with a little bit. First, we're going to talk about his flight with the Blue Angels, and then we'll get some of his take on this. He's going to be talking about it this afternoon on KFTK, so we'll get some of Mark Reardon's take on it a little later. But again, a lot more of your reaction and a couple other things on this next up on the show on KMOX.
This is Carol Daniel. Monday morning on our expanded Total Information AM, St. Louis police officer Colin Ledbetter stops by to describe his journey back after being shot by a murder suspect and nearly dying. That's Monday morning at 9:15 on KMOX.
Tired of the cookie-cutter feel of some new home communities? Discover the uniqueness of Lombardo Homes at Inverness. Inverness features variable setbacks throughout the neighborhood to create a park-like setting along the streets, as well as trails with pocket parks, loads of common ground, and 4 lakes. Inverness features custom homes ranging from 1,700 to over 2,500 square feet, priced from the high 300s. Tour our decorated display within Inverness, located on the north side of Fisey Road, west of Bryan Road. For more information, visit lombardohomes.com.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of precision.
That's the power of a skilled local team who know what they're doing.
The power of accurate estimates.
Estimates, not guesstimates.
The power of certainty.
CertaPro painters. That's the power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
I was out last night with my friend Patty from a radio station I can't mention because, this is going on other radio stations. It's a rock and roll station. But she has issues with her on her second floor. Her husband made a point, and she actually said it too, because I actually go out and run appointments. Call the office and ask them how much they like me being in the office. Then you'll know I am out on the street constantly, 12 hours a day, running service calls. So if you have a problem with your air conditioner, if it's broke, or if it's not cooling, or if somebody says you need a new system, please do yourself a favor, take the time, call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Remember, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Do not call the wrong number. It is 314-293-2600. Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I, 314-293-2600, or bartinman.com. Again, B-I, Bart with a B.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Live and local. This is St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
Game plan on the show. We got baseball talk coming up at the bottom of the hour, our normal 12:30 Redbird Report. Tell you about the series that starts up tonight that we're going to be at, by the way. The show is going to be hanging out.
The show night
at the show because
Excuse me.
Major League Baseball is
I'm
this
sorry,
show.
I think something was happening.
Damn it, I forgot.
So we'll be hanging out.
I gotta hang out with
Show
you
night at
for Reds
Cardinals.
Cards tonight, and we'll talk a bit about that at 12:30. Mike Claiborne at 1 o'clock. We'll get a little more baseball. Mark Reardon's going to tell us about his flight with the Blue Angels.
Dude, I was looking at the pictures of Mark Reardon in the Blue Angels plane. I don't know what number because they're like numbered plane 1, 2, 3. Unbelievable. And when they took off from the airport, the plane took off and then it just went straight up, like vertical.
God, it seems so fun.
Oh my gosh, I would die. I would want to do it in my head, but I could not because I would actually die, not in the metaphorical sense, but I would have
You would die?
I would die.
I don't believe that.
She wouldn't die.
You literally run 26 miles at a time.
I pass out though, and it's bad.
Amy finds some things, actually a lot of things, where she's extremely dramatic about them.
What?
There's a lot of drama over here with Amy. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Let's get a couple more reactions in here. We'll try to keep it quick. And look, we appreciate everybody getting in. I mean, we know it's a hot button topic. We know that there are going to be wide ranging views, but that we can present them, but that doesn't mean we're going to agree with them. I mean, that's just kind of the simple way of just describing all this. We have one that says Supreme Court leak has not been discussed. Has not been discussed. Oh my God. Or better yet, solved. Let's have a hearing on that. Number one, the Supreme Court itself is the one doing the investigation on that, right? That's not. I don't believe we want I don't know the process here, but I don't believe that is something that Congress is going to take up. I think the Supreme Court itself is looking into the leak, but also this hearing is how long after the actual event? What are we, 17 months removed from January 6th?
Yeah, year and a half.
So, yeah, we could very well have a Supreme Court hearing, but it's not going to happen in a month. We're not, I mean, like, you look at the time frame and how long this took to come together. It's not like you just say, well, let's do it for this one too, and then this one too. These things take a long time. And by the way, if Congress changes the way that I think it's going to change in November, we're probably going to have a bunch of these looking at other issues. Are we going to crap on them then when it's something that we like? Because, I mean, to me, you can't play that game and say, well, we only want to talk about this if we're going to talk about this other thing. Well, no, we can do a lot of things all at once.
Sure.
And we can do them all at the same time.
And that's not to say there won't be some hearings in the future that aren't nonsensical, because I think some of that is probably coming. But I can't wrap my head around watching the video from this day and thinking this is all nonsense. This is and we had a lot of Missouri politicians over the last 24 hours calling it a joke and a show trial. They were going to say those things anyway. They were going to say that you can give them all of the evidence in the world and put it in front of their faces, and they're going to say this stuff because they have a team. They're on their team.
Yeah.
And politics is sports now.
Yeah.
And you have to support your team no matter what.
Here's an interesting one. This is from the 636. It says the hearing was a show. It was well produced and emotional, but where was the substance? The woman that was the Capitol officer was a great victim. Well, I don't like that phrase.
But she got knocked out.
But she was an emotional prop. We need substance. She's a police
knocked
officer
unconscious.
telling her story of getting the crap kicked out of her by people on January 6th at the Capitol. And I think that's highly disrespectful to someone who did that job, who went through that, and then sat there and told their story.
She was knocked unconscious, got up, continued her job, and then later on was, in her own words, tear gassed. So she's an emotional prop. I'm sorry, and we appreciate you listening, but that is absolute nonsense.
I mean, but I will say this. I would agree with the idea that we need more. But
totally.
But keep in mind,
but it was day one.
It's day one of 6. There are going to be a lot more of these, and there's going to be more presented. So we do not need to reach a conclusion after last night.
I actually, when I watch these things, I take notes and I transcribe what I'm hearing, and transcribing the opening statements from Liz Cheney along with the videos that were interjected into her opening statements about what we would see. It was nothing but substance. It was names, it was dates, it was videos and quotes. It was substance.
Sure, I agree. But it's not all of it, right? I mean, there needs to be more, and that's why they're going to continue to do this. That's what I wanted to remind everybody, is that, like, last night, again, is basically opening arguments. And you started with the parade of witnesses. There will be way more. And I would say that one of the things that's discouraging to me, and we kind of touched on this briefly earlier in the show, is that unfortunately there are a lot of people, maybe some of you listening right now, that won't even watch these because you've made up your mind already. And I find a problem in that. Like, something this important, shouldn't we listen to what we're hearing from the people that were on the ground? You know, I mean, like, those are police officers that got beaten up. Those are, it wasn't just the party that you don't like being chased by those people through the building on that day. You know, there were people yelling, "Hang Mike Pence." And that's, on that quote unquote team, as we keep referring to it, but because he wouldn't do the one thing that he didn't have the authority to do, now we turn on him. Is that the kind of game that this is becoming?
Well, I would also like to point out, and we did have a texter earlier who said, this is from a 618, who said any president has the right to contest an election like 2000, and the VP has the right to delay the electoral count and send it back to the states. If you want to use 2000 as an example, there was a court case.
Yeah.
That there was a judgment in the court case.
I believe that was the Supreme Court.
I've heard of it. And as soon as they judged as soon as they made the ruling against the party who objected, that party conceded.
Yeah.
That party said, no, okay, but we lost.
What was the Supreme Court's reaction to this being brought to them? To this current case, to the 2000 election being brought to them? They rejected it.
They rejected it. Yeah,
they wouldn't take it.
Right. And as soon as they did that, Al Gore moved on.
No, and I'm talking about even in 2020. They wouldn't even take the case.
Oh, you're talking about this thing. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta, if you have a case, you have to be able to prove it. And if you've gone through all of those court cases and every one of them are being thrown out, which is what happened. You can argue whatever. It happened with some liberal-minded judges. It happened with some conservative appointees, but it happened over and over and over and over.
His own appointed attorney general told him it was all BS. Used literal. He didn't say. Well, he said the word.
He said the bull, and then the other word.
He said there's no avenue here. There's nothing here. His own people were telling him there is nothing here. This is a very, very, and I know people want to make it similar. This is a very different situation than what happened in 2000.
And that point was made, by the way, last night during the hearing that a candidate does have the right to challenge.
Sure.
Absolutely. And they did. And they went to court how many times? 37?
Oh, was it 37? It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And they won one procedural thing about how close people could be during the recounts. I mean, the courts told us what they thought of it. Bill Barr told us what he thought of it. And obviously we saw what the end result wound up being. All right, we're going to change gears because we can't do this all day. We're going to get to our Redbird Report coming up next. Mike Claiborne a little bit later on as well. So some Cardinals baseball here on your home for the Cardinals, KMOX.
We're like your morning coffee. You have to have it to start your day. That's Total Information AM. But now we're giving you 2 more hours of news, traffic, weather, and in-depth coverage. It's like going from a grande to a venti. Get your fill 5 to 10 a.m. on KMOX.
Hey, KMOX listeners, Roger Wigginton here at Don Rogers Limited, 6727 at West Main in Belleville. Hey, if you have not stopped in yet and tried on any of our collection from Lulu B, then you're really missing out. Probably the hottest line in the country. The styling looks just like a famous designer who does beautiful, bold colors and prints, but at about a fourth of the price. Our dresses come in sleeveless, maxi length, and 3/4. They have the UPF fabric that protects, a cooling effect, which in our hot, humid months is wonderful, and they are wash and wear and wrinkle free. We have a great selection of tops in 3/4 sleeve necks in sleeveless styles. We have V-neck, round neck, zip necks, ruffle necks. The fabric is absolutely incredible, and we are back in the dress business, and these dresses are really selling. So as always, I thank you so very much for listening to our commercial, and I invite you to stop by Don Rogers Limited.
Do you have financial resolutions for 2022? Maybe you want to help protect your portfolio from inflation, or maybe you want to take advantage of the current tax brackets before they sunset. At Heisey Advisory Group, we know that financial goals like these require reflection, clear expectations, and a comprehensive plan. So whatever your financial goal is, Let us take the uncertainty and emotion out of your financial planning. Make this the year that you accomplish your financial goals, because a goal without a deadline is simply a wish. Call us today at 314-328-4400 and schedule your complimentary retirement roadmap review with our team. That's 314-328-4400. 314-328-4400.
Ozzie Advisory Group provides insurance services but may not give tax or legal advice. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of timeliness.
We show up when we say we will, on time and fully caffeinated.
The power of transformation.
Also known as making your house look so good, your neighbors will be jealous.
The power of certainty.
That's your local CertaPro painters. The power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
At 12:30, it's mostly cloudy and 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. The prices of gas, food, and most other goods and services jumped in May, raising inflation to a new 4-decade high and giving American households no respite from rising costs. Consumer prices surged 8.6% last month from 12 months earlier, faster than April's year-over-year increase of 8.3%. A Wisconsin judge has found the investigator hired by Republicans to look into former President Trump's 2020 loss in the battleground state in contempt because of how his office responded to open records requests. The Biden administration is lifting its requirement that international air travelers to the U.S. take a COVID-19 test within a day before boarding their flights, easing one of the last remaining government mandates meant to contain the spread of the coronavirus. And right now, we do have 67 North that's closed past Timber Creek Drive. A stalled vehicle 6440 East past 270 on the right shoulder and 44 West before Shrewsbury on the right shoulder. And our forecast this afternoon, more clouds than sun with a shower, thunderstorm, and spots, high of 80. Clouds break later tonight, the low 64. And tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun and a high of 84. It's 76 degrees downtown at the Arch, and we should check the Dow from Stifel. It's down 743 points to 31,529, down 2.3%. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by the Lake Law Firm at covidtaxmoney.com.
Business owners with 5+ employees impacted by COVID, you may qualify for up to $26,000 per employee through the COVID ERC program. Even if you've received government benefits already, no recovery, no fee. Call the Lake Law Firm, 800-222-9000, 800-222-9000, or covidtaxmoney.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Have you ever gone to the grocery store hungry? Big mistake. Next thing you know, you're in the kitchen unloading all this stuff you didn't need, saying, "What did I do?" It's kind of like someone going into retirement without a plan. Steve All at the All Financial Group is here to help. He offers a complimentary retirement review. So instead of saying, "What did I do?" you can say, "Here's what I'm doing." Call 636-230-8824 and get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sundays at 10:15 on Sports Open Line and Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show.
I'm excited for not only the club but for the fans. This is a special year for sure.
On KMOX.
The pitch by Ueno. Albert is hit high and deep. A home run for Harrison Bader. Yadier Molina has homered. Double play. It's a big fly for Albert Pujols. A home run in the first inning for Goldie.
This is the Redbirds Report.
All right, time for a little baseball on your home for the Cardinals. KMOX Cardinals and the Reds tonight. And they're kicking off a series. Boy, it was a little bit of a tough road trip and obviously a real tough time down in St. Pete. The Rays took all 3 games, and they're obviously a good team. But as we all well know, that anytime things start to go badly, we have to panic. I'm not going to panic. I think we got a long way to go. And, 5 days ago, people were feeling pretty good about the team. Like, wow, half game out of first. Actually, you're still only a half game out of first, if I remember right, because Milwaukee's lost like 5-6 games in a row.
You might be the most anti-panic guy I know. You do not like it when sports fans panic.
No. He's just a pro rage guy everywhere else.
No,
and not just rage against the machine. He just likes
but
rage.
Mostly that. No, I think that this was something that I've argued. It goes back to even covering the Blues back in the day. that, people in January and February, you're yelling and screaming and giving up on a team. And then, oh, wow, look at that. They won the Stanley Cup. At least, I mean, it's not saying you can't criticize along the way. It's not saying you can't say, because I do say all the time, something is wrong with this.
Did you just sum up 51 years of misery as, oh, look at that.
And also taking an historic deficit. Like, I mean, yeah, Kevin, they won, but
listen, you know what I'm talking about.
That is the exception.
Sure it is, but you know what? You have to play the season out before you lose your mind.
No, but there are reasons.
Don't drive the panic bus into the side of the road because it's halfway through the season and your team's not where you want them to be. Because we can look at that, okay, sure, it's once in 50 years for the Blues. It's also 2006 and 2011. It's
also exceptions.
I know, but it's 3 times in the last 15 years where there's full-on giving up mode, and then, oh boy, championship. And by the way, that's assuming that only a championship is a decent outcome. There are plenty of years where we're freaking out at some point, and in the end, you're like, wow, that team actually won a couple of rounds in the playoffs, or they lost in the World Series, or they lost in the LCS or whatever.
But, I mean, playing devil's advocate here, you don't say, you know what I would really hope our team does? I hope we make it to the first or second round of the playoffs.
No, but there's idealism and there's realism. And in a perfect world, you win the championship. But the Cardinals are one of the most successful franchises in all of baseball history. Do we know, Raj? Do you remember how many franchises have won more World Series than the Cardinals franchise?
One.
And it happens about once every 10 years or 11 years. So if you are the second most successful franchise in the sports history and you only win a championship one every 10 years, what does that teach us?
Well, okay, that's fair. Totally
Fractions.
fair. Fractions.
It teaches us fractions.
Well, it should. It should.
That was good. And true. 1 in 10.
Amy's the smart one.
Oh, no, my camera's off again. I always do this.
Turn your camera
Every time I
on,
eat something during a break, I turn it off and then don't forget to put it back on. But
Well,
okay,
no, I was going to say is like you're right though, but then you can't tell a fan in the middle of a given season. Look, I don't watch a baseball season or any kind of season unless I have just won a championship. So, like for the Blues, I subscribe to the Bill Simmons idea that if you have won
you can
a
just
title,
stop there. That means it's a dumb thing.
Well, no, but I think this is good. And he's been saying this
So I'm
for a
just kidding.
long time.
I don't like Bill Simmons.
I don't really like Bill Simmons either, but he did say this one thing years ago that I think is right. And what he said was, if your team has just won a championship, you cannot complain for 5 years. There's a 5-year grace period. You can't say a damn thing about your team. Now, I agree with that. Now, that set aside, I can't, as a fan of the Cardinals, I can't just step back and go, well, it's not good now. They're playing well now, right? I mean, they have their hiccups, but whatever.
They have not played well the last 3 or 4 days.
But they're still a good
that,
team.
They were on a good run.
They're still in a good position.
Yeah.
But I can't say, well, they've won 10 championships though. So, like, I know it's not going well.
That's not the point.
The
point is perspective. If you think your team's got to try to is going to win the World Series every year, you're a crazy person.
Well, no, I don't think
accept
people
that there is
people
something,
don't believe that necessarily.
But you have to accept that there are good, positive outcomes that do not end in a parade, because it's going to be the vast majority of your seasons that are going to end that way. And we don't have to ride the roller coaster where we're screaming and yelling and panicking and calling for players to be
disagree.
released and
That's
all that.
part of the fun.
Can I actually
That's part of the fun of being a
defend-
fan.
Right. Fan is short for fanatic, which implies that you're unreasonable and irrationally, emotionally involved. But
so as long as they admit that, cool.
If heavy metal music is a release and it's like rage, how is not fandom and riding the roller coaster the sports version of music's heavy metal?
Well, first of all, the biggest difference is that
I've got a PowerPoint presentation here.
One is a competition. One is not a competition. One is pure entertainment. You either like it or you don't. Competition is day by day something different. The game is not going to be the same today as it is tomorrow. The music is going to be the same song today, to tomorrow as it is today. It's not going to change.
Okay.
The game is good. The nature of sports is that every day, especially in baseball, every day is going to be different. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
You're a real know-it-all.
I know.
Yeah, you really are.
I know.
Yeah, that's not.
What am I supposed to say? Well, guys, I don't know.
No.
You guys got me.
Yes. Yes, say that. You got me. There it is. There it is.
Sure, when logic and reason is on my side. You guys.
Oh, here we go. Logic and reason.
Can I ask you this? This is I'm pivoting here. But you were a catcher.
Not a good one, but yes.
You were at University of Miami.
I didn't play.
You had a D. Did you have a scholarship?
I had an academic scholarship.
Look at that. Is it because you spoke French?
I did. Probably partly.
That's pretty good.
Partly.
Okay, so and this is a serious question. When you are a pitcher like Miles Michaelis, and you have 8 outstanding innings, and you do your job, which is to give your team a chance
Which
to
he
win.
did yesterday.
Yep.
He did.
Gave up 2 runs, and then the team gets 1 run. How much does the pitcher carry that personally? And I imagine it's pitcher to pitcher, but how much does that either demoralize or frustrate the pitcher, or does he just move on because it's a team sport and it happens?
Every guy's different. Some wear it, some don't. When you listen to the guys talk, they always say, look, it's one day and I got another game tomorrow and we got another game the next day, and we can't dwell on what just happened the day before. We need to learn from it. We need to try to make adjustments. We need to be better or whatever.
But it reflects on him. Do you know what I mean? It's a loss for him.
No,
it shouldn't be.
It's not looked at that way anymore.
People stop.
It used to be, but it's kind of not anymore.
Well, what do you think percentage of people, baseball fans, who still care about pitcher wins and losses is?
I'd say it's probably a higher percentage than we would think. It's probably in the 50-60% range. But I think people care more about the win than
the team
loss.
win is the only thing that matters.
Right. But I mean, I think if people are evaluating pitchers, they seem to care more about the win than they care about assigning a loss. Because like with Michaelis, he was great. He did his job. Like, nobody's going to be like, well, dude, he lost the game. Well, not really. They lost because they didn't score any runs. And I think that, if a guy gets a lot of wins, that's implying that he is, doing his job, and which in some cases it means he is, because at least he's going 5 or 6 or 7 innings or whatever. But it's definitely decreasing. There are a lot more people that are understanding that that's not a really good individual stat. Like, for example, how many wins did Michael Jordan have? Because he was far more responsible for all of those wins with the Bulls than any individual baseball player ever is in a baseball game. But nobody knows what his 1-loss record was. Nobody looks at it that way, because in that sport, they're rational about it.
I mean, it's different.
Why is it different?
Well, I guess the nature of the sport is different for sure.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah,
He would actually be more credited with the win or the loss because he's that much more important. He touches the ball every time down the floor.
Amy, hear the know-it-all over there?
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, listen.
I've got an answer for everything.
You don't want the answers, don't ask the questions. Y'all ask questions, I got answers, man. That's how it rolls.
Answers come out. Like, I don't know if they're the answers.
I haven't heard a counterpoint.
Asking you a question is like putting a coin in a machine.
They're
just
just
here it comes.
Yeah, they're just it's like you can't argue with Zoltar. I mean, he just gives you your fortune, and you're not going to be like, nope, that's wrong.
Well, that sounds like a concession to me.
Yeah, it's just what are you going to do? Like,
at least you knew when you lost.
Sometimes there's just nothing you can do,
how
Kevin.
about those cards, huh?
Yeah, how about this? All started with me saying people shouldn't panic day by day.
Oh, that's right.
I think they should. I think that's the good stuff right there.
Riley,
Panic.
I love your rational.
Well, and this is coming from a guy who did post game for 10 years for one of the angriest fan bases in the country. White Sox fans?
They have a fan base?
Dude, they do. I'm going to tell you this right now. They do. They
it's like
do.
6 people in the Legui brothers who attacked a first base coach.
I think it was, those people.
Obama's one of the 6 , though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but
That's
they're
true.
fine.
Yeah.
Their 6 are freaking intense. They are intense. A one White Sox fan equals 500 Cardinals fans in intensity.
In terms of anger.
Oh my God, dude.
It's like
dude.
the superstars, like the Novas, when they collide, it's like, well, there's a billion Cardinals fans, but if you have one White Sox fan and compress them, it's a billion.
It's like a nuclear
fans.
weapon.
I will say one thing that is interesting, having covered, sports for, I don't know, whatever I say is going to make me sound old, but more than 25 years. 2 of the fan bases that are the hardest to please are the 2 most successful in baseball, Yankees fans and Cardinals fans.
And that's the way it should be.
Well, no, again, to a degree.
No, it should be.
To a degree, it should be.
Cardinals fans should expect
it. But
it.
what happens in this moment now, like today or tomorrow, has nothing to do with 60 years ago. has nothing to do with the history
Here's
of
the
the
thing.
franchise. It's all about what's happening now.
You say we're hard to please, and I know people around Major League Baseball say that they don't like Cardinals fans because they're arrogant. And I always say we're not arrogant. We're just better than everyone else.
See?
Hey, listen, I'm not disparaging anybody because the truth is Yankees fans and Cardinals fans are both pretty great. I mean, they're intense. They are large fan bases, and that's why it seems like they're noisier. They're not any more irrational than anybody else, but they are very demanding, which is good.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
You know what you don't want? You don't want apathy.
That's right.
You don't want Rays fans. You don't want to be them.
Yeah.
They have fans.
They do. Well,
and the
ones they have, they don't care.
And that's about it.
They do have Dick Vitale.
That's about it.
I kind of want to
look
see.
at the game the other day. They had 10,000 people there, and like 7,000 were Cardinals fans.
If the Tampa Bay Rays actually win a World Series, I just want to see him do it for Dick. Do it for Dick.
Vitale.
Vitale.
Yeah, it's Dick Vitale.
No, you think of Joey Vitale.
Yeah, Joey Vitale is a different pronunciation.
Yeah. Dick Vitale is the basketball guy.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
And he's been through a lot. He's had a lot of health
He
problems
has lately. Yeah, he's
in the
come
last
through it
couple
pretty
of
well
years.
lately, though.
So if the Rays win a World Series, they will have done it for Dick.
I can't let that be the last thing that goes on the air before we hit a break.
The Rays will have done it for Dick
Vitale. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, course, Kevin Wheeler,
What's
the
wrong
show
with
on
that?
KMOX.
Hi, this is Ben Coons. Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like to participate in stock market gains, but never in stock market losses? Join me for the Retirement and Income Radio Show right here on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. You can also call me now for your free retirement and income kit and my retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
At 420ID.com, we make it easy to get your Missouri medical marijuana card. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in, so why wait? 420ID is the only company that provides you with a real plastic ID card and have served over 19,000 happy Missouri patients. Open late every day until 9 p.m. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420ID.com. Today is the day to sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card at 420ID.com. Use promo code RADIO and save $30 today. That's 420ID.com.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey for my trusted friend and realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is the agent I've been recommending for years. If you are planning to sell your home in this crazy seller's market, you do not want to leave a single dollar on the table. You'll love working with Gloria. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Her secret? Well, Gloria has the buyers. Thousands of ready buyers looking for homes in your price range and in your neighborhood. Lawrence and Shelby sold their St. Louis home in just 3 days at $17,250 over asking price with multiple offers when their previous agent produced 0 results. They chose Gloria over other agents and they were thrilled with the results. You should call Gloria Liu today with any questions. 314-325-6888. 314-325-6888. It's Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. With a focus on community banking, who better to join us than Sandy DeMond, Senior Vice President and Director of Community Banking at Busey. She joined Jeff Burgess and me to discuss Busey's financial literacy programs available to both students and adults. Listen to our June podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Community Living Incorporated is a local nonprofit organization on a mission to provide services and create opportunities for people with disabilities. See how you can get involved at communitylivingmo.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Back to the show.
Yeah, the show!
With Amy, Chris, and Kevin on KMOX.
All right, coming up top of the hour here on the show, Mike Claiborne's going to join us in studio. A little more baseball talk for you here on your home for the Cards. KMOX pregame, by the way, tonight is at 6:20, 7:15 for the first pitch. Andre Palante starting for the Cardinals. Right-hander Luis Castillo for the Reds. So that's what's happening tonight. We'll check in with Claibs here in a few minutes. Now, last night, I should say yesterday afternoon, but it was heard last night during the KMOX Rewind, and it's on our podcast. We were talking about like the extra fees that are showing up in restaurants on your bill. They're like, a kitchen appreciation fee. And, we talked a bit about that, but we didn't finish the conversation that we wanted. And Ron, you were the one, I think, that brought this up, right? About tipping in restaurants and kind of how this has gone compared to what people thought it would be coming out of the COVID shutdown and people's kind of habits during that time.
Yeah, apparently people are not as good at tipping as they were promising to be. And
you mean coming out of COVID?
Well, during COVID, well, first of all, if you recall, let's just back up all the way here. How many times have you taken or gotten takeout, gotten carry out, and when you go to pay for it, maybe you've charged it to your card, and then there's if you're a normal person, you use a credit card. Weirdos use cash. But let's say that you have paid with a credit card, and then there's the tip section at the bottom.
Yep.
They have that not just for service at a table, but they have it for people who go to the counter and pick it up.
Yeah.
How often did you leave a tip? And if you did, what percentage would you leave? Because the typical, the standard, getting a server at a table, 18 to 20% tip. That's like the way you should.
15% is considered standard. I mean, but a lot of people
know it all, Kevin.
No, it is. I mean, it always has been.
You're a real Andrew.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, that was a DGS joke.
Wish you didn't call me Richard.
Okay, is 15 really the standard?
It's considered the industry standard, but 15 to 20 is the range. But when people, like, if you were going to look at putting an auto tip on there, they would say 15% is kind of a baseline.
Okay, I will say this. I always tip 20% or more. So with the takeout, especially during COVID, I tipped 20%. When I'm in the restaurant, or even, you go to Caldi's and get a coffee, I'll tip usually 25 for coffee, and a restaurant just kind of depends, because if it's just me and it's like $11, I'm not going to tip 20%. I will usually tip more. Like, I'll tip up to 50% if it's a small bill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I do the same thing. My base point is 20%. And then it'll go, very rarely goes down. It can, if you really do a crappy job, it's going to go down. Like, you have to be bad.
I've never gone down. 20 is the worst.
If you ignore my table for half an hour, I'm probably going to go below that.
But what if it's not the server's fault? I mean,
I know the difference because I worked in restaurants. I can tell if you're busy and you're running. I get you. I mean, I've been there. I know how hard it is. But if it's a quiet day and you put down the food on my table and I don't see you for 30 minutes, you don't come refill my drink, you're kind of ignoring me, I may go down, but I might not. It depends.
I don't think I've ever...
I will never drop the tip because of the food, though, because that's not the server's fault.
No, and I've never gone below 20% at a sit-down restaurant when I'm at a table.
If I have,
I never do.
Really rare.
Yeah, in fact, I can't think of a time. I'm pretty safe, I think, to say I've never done it.
Yeah.
Because I can't recall a time that I did. And I have had times where the service wasn't very good. By and large, it is pretty good. So creditcards.com, it's a personal finance website. They came up with these numbers by polling people who said they always tip at a sit-down restaurant is 73%. Mm-hmm. In 2019, that number was 77%.
That seems low. Who doesn't tip when you're at a sit-down restaurant?
You've worked in a restaurant, you know.
I mean,
I've worked in a restaurant.
No, I understand, but I would not have guessed that it was 70. It was that there were almost 30% of people that don't tip at a sit-down restaurant.
Right.
That's insane. If you do that, stop it.
Well, what's even worse is that it is a lower percentage than what it was in the year prior to the pandemic. It also said 57% of respondents say they always tip their delivery person, which is down from 63%. So a lower percentage, and actually the same kind of thing for taxi or rideshare drivers. That percentage is down about 6%. So across the board, people who are servers, people who are takeout workers, people who are drivers for Uber, Lyft, taxis, a lower percentage of them are getting tipped out now.
So here's a question, because now I'm thinking, and I actually feel like a horrible person. When I go to Caldi's, I use a credit card to pay because they don't have like the Starbucks app, right?
Yeah.
But you just flash the app. Well, with Caldi's, you can pick when you sign your name for the credit card.
They flip the screen around.
They flip the screen around. It's like a square service, and it's 15, 20, 25% or no tip. And I always tip because it's so easy. But with Starbucks, with the app, I realize I don't tip at Starbucks because I just use the app, and I know they have the little bucket for change and people can tip. I'm not tipping at Starbucks. Should I be tipping? I also have a hard time because it's so expensive, but should I be tipping at Starbucks?
Well, I maybe this is wrong, but I very, very, very rarely tip counter service because all you're doing is pouring it or putting it in a box and handing it to me.
No, with the baristas, I mean, they make the beautiful latte art. They're really working back there. So with Caldi's,
but you're not waiting on me.
Kind of. The espresso machine guy.
I can understand where Kevin's coming from. If
I'm not saying
you go to
because if I had a complicated order or I had something that was a big order, then I would because it's about the effort that goes into it.
Right. Or you go to Caldi's, go to Starbucks, and you just get coffee, and they turn around, they put it in the thing, and they give it right back to you. I mean, that's the same as being at McDonald's.
I say, do you tip fast food? Because I don't.
No,
No,
because I don't know.
I would never tip at Taco Bell.
Well, you can't really.
I mean,
if you're paying with a card, right? And I pay for a card with a card for pretty much everything,
right?
So I don't have
what's the
cash
difference
on me.
between a Taco Bell and a coffee place?
Well, I think you're right because what's the difference between Starbucks and Caldi's? I mean, other than the coffee, I should be tipping at Starbucks because in my mind, Starbucks fast food, that is the service industry. I mean, they're dealing with angry customers.
Yeah.
They have to deal with people being unhappy with their orders. It is not easy being a barista or
but
a fast food worker.
Zero people tip at Wendy's. Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I don't know why I would tip for coffee if I wasn't going to tip
Wendy's
for.
is so mad right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
We got a text no, I actually do. And I'm not even arguing against it. It's just not custom.
No.
If it were custom, I would do it because it's something that people would expect.
Okay. What do you tip for your hairstylist? Well, hair cutter.
Yeah. The person that turns on the clippers.
Yes.
No. Actually, the person that does my hair, Christina, does a great job. I tip. I don't remember what the percentage is. It's probably 25%.
Because you're supposed to do extra or bring a gift on the holidays, and I don't know if I just don't go frequently.
I'm sorry,
enough.
gift?
Yeah, you're supposed
never
to bring
done
a
that.
Christmas
No, I haven't
gift.
done that either.
Yeah, never done that. Not that I'm saying I'm right. I just never done that. I didn't know that
Do you
was
leave
a thing.
a gift for your post office?
You're supposed to do it for your
lady?
post person.
I don't know. I'd have to ask my wife. I wouldn't do it. She
Your
probably
postal worker.
Yeah.
I think my mom does, but she's nice and she gives gifts. I'm not especially nice.
Understatement.
We know. You guys are mean to me.
But you earned it. Mike Claiborne will join us after the top of the hour here on the show.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me, was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit, and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS. Did you know that the average family home takes on 40 pounds of dust per year? It's this dust and debris that can worsen allergies and asthma and cause discomfort in your home. Call 314-474-2020 and ask for the DGS special and get $75 off air duct cleaning packages. That's 314-474-2020.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
This is KMOX, the trusted voice of St. Louis.
An Odyssey station.
Indoor plumbing, been around for decades, right? Well, when you have a problem with it, you need a plumber, and Beast Plumbing wants to be that plumber. I'll give you their contact information at the end of this, so get your phone ready so you can punch in their information. But when it comes to the flavor of the water that comes out of your tap, they have ways that they can improve that with different water filter systems, reverse osmosis systems. They are water treatment specialists at Beast Plumbing, and they can take care of that for you. Something simple like not enough water pressure coming out of your shower head, Beast Plumbing can take care of that too. And they've got another thing that's going on for the month of June. They've got $40 off all hose bibs. And a hose bib is a small faucet attachment on the outer wall of your home that gets you water to your backyard or to your driveway to wash your vehicle. No problem. Beast Plumbing's got that deal going. Get a hold of them as soon as you can by calling 314-698-1154 or beastplumbing.com. That's BEIS plumbing.com. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to Beast Plumbing.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. 3 people are being treated after being shot at the food court of a shopping mall near Charlotte. It happened about noon in Gastonia, North Carolina. Police say the suspects fled and have not been found. The Uvalde school police chief accused of making the wrong decision about not immediately confronting the Robb Elementary School gunman is now talking to the Texas Tribune.
According to the report, Arredondo referred to himself as a first responder, never thinking he was the scene's incident commander, as claimed by the Texas Department of Public Safety. He said he entered the school seconds after arriving, but did so without the keys to the classrooms or police and campus radios, meaning he had no contact with other law enforcement or access to the 911 calls coming from the classrooms. Arredondo added that he did use his cell phone to call for a SWAT team to help break down the doors and tried to talk to the gunman through the walls, but got no response. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
President Joe Biden's administration has scrapped former President Donald Trump's red, white, and blue design for the new generation of presidential aircraft after an Air Force review suggested it could raise costs and delay the delivery of the new jets. Mr. Trump in 2018 directed that the new jumbo jets shed the iconic Kennedy-era robin's egg blue and white design for a deeper navy and streak of dark red, some say was evocative of TWA. The new president of the St. Louis Board of Aldermen is urging his colleagues to avoid things that smell funny after the recent indictment of 3 aldermen on federal bribery charges. Joe Vollmer was asked how he plans to restore public confidence in the board.
Well, it's about, I guess, being the person my parents raised me to be, my wife's made me into, is where you look for the greater good. You know, it's not about me. It's not about anyone on the board. It's about the integrity of the board and moving forward, putting people's faith back in us, the body, not just us people, but the government itself.
Appointed to the post of president because of his seniority on the board, Vollmer says going forward, aldermen should avoid even the appearance of a connection between campaign donations and legislation. Shoppers looking for bargains are going to Bayer's Nursery after the longtime family-owned business announced it's going out of business at the end of this month. At the Hampton Avenue location, Virginia Cruz says her yard is full of things she bought at Bayer's over the years.
My petunias, my impatiens, some bushes that I've had for years. It's white every spring, and all the neighbors come over and say, what a beautiful plant. I got it at Bayer's.
Both locations on Hampton and in Imperial will close on June 30th. Owners say all shrubbery is 10% off, and all ceramics, such as pots, concrete, and fountains, are 20% off. The Jefferson Bank and Trust Business Desk, more are saying I do.
A surge in weddings this year as more guests trying to figure out what to wear. Macy's and Nordstrom said recently that the wedding boom has been good for sales of dresses and suits. It's also been good for Rent the Runway. That stock got to rally for a while after its earnings report before it joined the Wall Street sell-off. Tracy Jonke, Bloomberg Radio.
And the latest on that sell-off, the Dow from Stifel is down 761 points. That's 2 1/3% to 31,510. And we've got debris on 6440 East before Tower Grove. It's got the center lane closed. We've also got 270 at 67 North. The center lane is closed there. Weather is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Temperatures should peak out in the upper 70s this afternoon. More clouds and sunshine with some scattered showers and thunder showers. Nothing close to all-day rain. There'll still be a lot of dry time. It's not a washout. Then tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms move west to east fairly quickly this evening, getting out of the picture. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies, 62. Saturday, partly sunny and nice, 78 to 82. Sunday, summertime. It's getting hot and humid, sunshine, 90 on Sunday. But how about upper 90s to near 100 with tons of humidity Monday and Tuesday? I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Clouds in 75 in Florissant, 77 in St. Peter's, and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than $4? 314-441-4444.
It's 105 on the show here on KMOX. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Ranj, why did you just throw your headphones at Amy?
I don't know. She called me a weirdo.
No.
And I didn't do anything wrong.
Yes, you did.
We were looking at a photo of.
I just said it was amazing that Gavin Newsom and Kimberly Guilfoyle were married.
I didn't know that.
Speaking of great personalities, I don't know. We've got Mike Claiborne in
We
the
weren't
house.
talking about great personalities, but now we are. What's up, Claves?
It's good to see everybody. This is kind of like a Bob Hope moment. Now, you all are too young to remember the Tonight Show.
No,
I've seen it. Bob Hope would
I
just
go
like
back
walk
as far
on.
as I don't remember Bob Hope being on there.
Yeah,
What do
he
you
would
mean as
just
a
like,
guest?
Yeah, as a guest.
Oh,
he
yeah,
would
I
just
remember
like
that,
walk on and, thanks. Anyway.
The show stops when Mike Claiborne walks into the room. Everybody knows it.
That's why we call him the Showstopper.
That is why we call.
Is that my new name?
It
That's
is.
for on this
I
show
have so
because
many.
remember, Claves, because we came up with the really creative name, The Show.
Well, it's my understanding that Odyssey spent a lot of money with consultants trying to come up with the name for this show.
Yeah.
A lot of money, to the point where we laid off like 8 people just to pay for that.
And we still came up with nothing.
In the show, yeah.
Yeah. They always get a consultant. Consultant is the best job in America.
Yes.
To be a consultant.
Especially fashion consultants. Because what works for them doesn't necessarily work for you.
You could be a fashion consultant. You are always
you look
very
really nice.
sharply dressed.
I was at
Look
a
at that.
luncheon for the United Way.
Oh, were you?
You know, they've been in business for 100 years in St. Louis. 100 years. And so I was at that luncheon, so that's why I'm
Look at that.
Normally, I would
Cufflinks.
Normally, I
We've
would be have on some like a tank top and
No,
Yeah,
this is
Claves.
He is always the best dressed in whatever room he walks in.
Yeah, look at
that's
that.
nice of
What's
you
on
to
the
say.
cufflinks?
Just some. It goes with the jacket.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool looking. Monogram shirt. I like it.
Oh, you smell nice too. You smell classy.
Are you pitching wool?
I
here?
can smell. Hey, I can smell how classy you are right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
everything's.
got a pickup line for Claves.
All right.
On a scale of 1 to America, how free are you tonight?
Oh God.
Can I write that one down? Could you speak that in my phone so I can use it?
Yeah, write it down so you don't ever say it
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
It's patriotic
Just
and it's
things
a pickup
to,
line.
Things
Oy.
to remember not to say.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say these things that Amy taught me.
Yeah,
So how are you guys doing? You guys look smart. I was listening on the way.
We look smart.
Yeah.
I mean, with
For
Ranji,
radio
with Ranji,
purposes.
with Ranji, it's the glasses. It makes it
Yeah,
look
yeah,
smart.
yeah. That's
I
right.
was in Tampa and a guy said he knew you. He worked
Dave
with you.
Wills or probably Ryan Sudol.
Somebody
Yeah,
said,
some-
hey, you know Chris Ranji? No, I never
Yeah,
heard of
yeah,
him.
they always do that. Don't
Because
ever-
I didn't know whether you owed him money or I didn't want to get
It's a
anything
good point.
started.
He was actually covering your back.
I appreciate that.
Ranji, no.
Well,
no,
whatever
no.
it is, I'm not going to pay him.
Well, apparently you're not.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
he's still
it's
looking
too late
for you.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So what have you guys been up to?
Just light talk today.
Yeah.
Light talk?
Nothing's
light talk,
happened.
No politics.
Nothing really going on in the world.
We didn't have to
No.
do anything like that.
Great hockey game last night, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Was anybody watching that?
No.
Unfortunately, I was watching the entire hearings.
I watched.
Yeah,
some
January
of it.
6 hearings.
I watched maybe an hour's worth,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Damn."
Yep, that sounds right.
That's how we all felt.
Okay,
I
yeah.
watched 2 hours of
Yeah.
it. That was also my reaction at the end.
I
Damn.
said, I think I need to go have a cocktail
Yeah.
after watching this.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was riveting. And I know some people would say, well, it's just a lot of whoever, whatever. But it was riveting to see how well constructed the whole thing was. I mean, obviously, people had been planning, both sides had been planning the moment, but how they put this whole thing together to present to the country was it was interesting.
You know, we were talking about this yesterday, and I don't know if we talked about it on air or in the office. This show never stops. Like these two don't stop.
These two, like you don't. Come on.
These two don't stop talking, man. Like I don't get a break.
You know, see, you told almost the truth, but
Yeah.
you said 2 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it was them. It's not
in
me.
my
I'm not
listening to this show. You found your way to weave in.
Yeah, that's right.
Any
That's right.
conversation as
Claims
well.
I'm not part of the problem.
Did I not? I did call Ranji
You're the problem.
yesterday on
The
the way to the studio. I'm 5 minutes away. He's 5 minutes away. I had to call him.
She calls me.
He's like, "What?"
I'm
I'm
like,
like, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah, I'm going to see you in 2 minutes. Leave me alone. Anyway, so we were talking about this yesterday, how it kind of, this is where we are. And it kind of stinks that we have to put on a production and you have to package it right to show people so they'll pay attention to it. Then why can't we just seek out this information and know that it's important and watch it on our own? Why does it have to be pretty? Why does it have to be all wrapped up and in a bow?
It's important to garner someone's attention early because we all have short attention spans.
Yeah.
So we have to have a wow factor early in order just to get you to pay attention for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And because of technology, we're so much more adept at being able to put it together than what we used to, because word of mouth doesn't work like the pictures and like the audio does. And I think that's where we're at in society, because we don't pay attention to very many things very long. Like, for instance, your last name is...
See
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I already forgot.
But I think that's the reason why. There was a time before we had all these grandiose things, be it TV, radio, or the ability to get to someone. We just looked each other in the eye and we talked, and we found out, we got information that way. Now it's either on our phone or we get a snippet of it on Twitter or whatever. And I think people who want to get their message across have figured out, hey, we have to hit them quick. We need to get to them quick, because if we don't, we're going to lose them.
Those days were so much better. Also, I mean, we had the plague back then, but I mean, otherwise it was better.
This is a super broad question, but talking about the shortened attention spans of Americans, and you're looking at social media and now TikTok, and the attention spans are getting smaller and smaller. How, in your mind, has that affected sports? Again, I know it's a broad question, but in what way has that, the most prominent ways it's affected sports?
Sports has turned into a highlight. People don't have the patience to sit through an entire game. They want to see the goals, the home runs, the strikeouts. They don't care about anything else that leads up to it. And that's why, and now because you can go to your phone, people don't watch the games. They listen to it. They can go in and out, but they want to get the highlight. Oh, man, I want to see this highlight from this guy hit a home run, or he hit a 500-foot home run, or this guy scored 3 goals. That's all they want to see. They don't want to see the process of how the games work anymore. And it's unfortunate, because I work with a couple of guys who are as prepared to give you whatever you need information-wise than John Rooney and Ricky Horton. These guys are so prepared, and I work with him. There's nobody more prepared than Kevin Wheeler when it comes to baseball or anything else. But there's a lot of stuff they leave on the floor that they never get a chance to use, but they're ready for it. And I think in our business of sport, we always want to be more prepared than what the viewer or listener is ready to take on, because you just never know where it's going to go. But it's changed our business dramatically.
So shifting to the game tonight, actually really just kind of the homestand that starts up tonight, Claves. And we know that the pen continues to get taxed. This is actually a problem pretty much for
It's an annual thing, though.
Yeah. But it's also, this is happening to almost every team in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Where bullpens are being beaten up because everybody's still being careful with rotations based on the work stoppage that impacted that. Plus that followed a shortened COVID year and all that. Like it's been a couple of years of workload management and trying to get everything back to normal. So where do you think things are for the Cards now that they've got had the day off? They're back in play, and they didn't have the day off. They had a short game yesterday, which felt like a day off.
Hour and 54 minutes.
It felt like a day off after that.
I haven't seen anything like that in years.
Yeah.
An hour and 54-minute game. And it was a very entertaining game. I wish it would have went like 2 hours and 4 minutes. That means the Cardinals would have had 10 more minutes to score 3 runs, and we would have won the game. But I think we're at a point now, though, Kevin, where it's more mental than physical because we can't use the pandemic. We can't use the work stoppage. We're in the middle of June now. And so everybody should be caught up, but they're not because they mentally feel like, well, I'm not there yet. I had this to deal with. Bro, come on. It's middle of June. Everybody's had their moment. It's time to get up and step up and play. And I think it's frustrating for managers and coaches to have to still hear or feel like guys aren't ready. They got to be ready. I mean, we're not even the Flag Day, which, by the way, I think we talked about this last week. Flag Day has now been moved back to July 4th to evaluate what you have as a team.
Yeah.
Klebs, can I ask you about, did you
Let's
see?
go to the phones and Amy standing by. First time caller, season ticket holder.
Yeah,
Which one are you?
Long time listener,
Yeah.
big fan, first time caller.
First time listener.
Yeah. I played a little ball. You ought to get those calls.
So can you give your thoughts on, I don't know if you saw Tony La Russa's walking of Trey Turner on a 1-2 count yesterday?
So I forgot who it was that went back to the numbers for counts. Only go back to 1988. First time ever.
Yep. That was
So I guess we need to set the table.
Joe
People
Sheehan
missed
did
it.
that. So people that missed it yesterday. So the White Sox are playing a game against the
Dodgers.
Yeah. And you have a runner on second base. Trey Turner is a right-handed batter.
Sox are down by a
hitting.
run.
The White Sox are down by a run.
Yeah.
And there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound. The left-handed pitcher gets it to a 1-2 count on Trey Turner. And then Tony La Russa calls for the intentional walk to bring up Max Muncy, who is a lefty. And Max Muncy hits a 3-run home run.
Did you hear what Muncy said?
I saw.
Do you see his when he
his
crossed
reaction
the plate?
when he was crossing home plate?
Yeah.
That blankety blank, gonna walk him on 1-2, blank that blanker.
Exactly. Yeah, something like that.
Yep. Very close.
So it's the talk of Chicago. I have David Kaplan. You know David.
Oh, yeah,
Kaplan.
I know Dave.
Cappy called me last day. Did you see what your boy did? Wait a minute.
I get that from Chicago people all the time.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
your boy.
guy, La Russa.
Your guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he was our guy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's been a while.
He was your guy before he was our guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that's created more of a stir this year. I mean, we've had a lot of things that created stirs in baseball, but that, and Tony, if you heard him after the game,
my God, he was
dug in. He
indignant.
was like, "Oh, you're not as smart as me. Let me tell you why."
Did he play his favorite line? Did he like, "I'd love to manage against you"?
You know what? I think if one more question would have been asked, he'd have rolled out. Right. So when he was in St. Louis, if somebody would ask a question he didn't like, it was about strategy. Well, I'd love to manage against you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was his favorite line. And I wonder though, is that his signal to say, you know what, I've had enough?
I don't know, man. It was weird.
Well, they're not going to let him go. Jerry Reinsdorf is not.
Fire him.
No
Tony's got to go in and say, you know what, I want to do something
That's
else.
the only way.
I want to go upstairs and show somebody else how to manage.
Or the fan you could hear in the background.
Yeah. It's like,
2 strikes.
He's like, there were 2 strikes, Tony. Did you guys, we'll close on this. Did you guys ever see the video that somebody made of the dog and the deer? And it's Ezekiel and Tony. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, they're yelling across
"What's
the
your
pond.
name?
Yeah.
Ezekiel, what's your name?
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah.
Like you, Tony.
That was it.
Kind of what was happening at Sox Park last night,
dude. And Freddie Freeman at second base when it happened,
like,
and he
what?
said to the second baseman, he goes, "I don't think I've ever seen that before."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Darndest thing.
Thanks for stopping by, bud.
I thought I was here for 2 segments.
Yeah.
I drove all the way here for this.
I mean, you can hang.
I'm good. Whatever you guys
man.
want to do.
Great to see you, dude.
Better to be seen and viewed.
See you at the ballpark.
All right, my friend.
It's Mike Claiborne. It's the
Just
show on
saying.
KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
5-minute cash offer on your house. Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com. 314-946-9999. Local and family owned. We're going to buy your property direct in as-is condition. And we just rolled out the instant cash offer where you'll get an offer on your house in 5 minutes or less when you reach out to us. Find us online at ClaymanGroup.com for an instant cash offer now. KLAMEN Group.com. 946-9999. 314-946 all nines.
CertaPro commercial painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of minimal disruption.
We work with you to ensure a smooth project,
The power of making you look good.
making sure it's done right, on time and within budget, so every property manager looks like a hero. That's CertaPro painters.
The power of pro.
Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me, was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit, and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
In business since 1957, we've seen many competitors come and go. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter with Easter Fence Deck and Renovations. Many companies pass away with the owners, and the customers are left with useless promises and warranties. At Easter, we are in the third generation and have a succession plan. You know we'll be here to honor our warranty, which is the best in the industry, and take care of all of your fence, deck, and outdoor construction needs. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Easter Fence Deck and Renovations, where customers become friends.
News, talk, sports. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
What you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. What you gonna do? Do you wanna get down?
All right, it's a show on KMOX. Mike Claiborne's hanging out for a little bit longer. And, we started talking about the homestand a little bit, Claibs.
Yeah.
And, if you look at the division now, even though I guess if you're gonna have a few games where you're not gonna play well,
Make sure everybody else
this is the right time, right? So here's
Milwaukee
the Central Division losing streaks because they're all on losing streaks. Reds have lost 2 in a row, but they're the worst of the group. The Cubs have lost 3 in a row. The Pirates have lost 3 in a row. The Cardinals have lost 3 in a row. And the Brewers have lost 6 in a row. And they've lost 8 of the last 10. So even coming into tonight, you're a half game out of first place.
Which is amazing.
We knew this division was bad.
Yeah, we didn't know it was going to be like that. Well, at least we're all going down at the same time. But, the games in Tampa, they 2 of those games were winnable.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about you hit into a double play with a runner on base yesterday. The Monday night, Tuesday night, guy hits a walk-off home run. Those were games you could have won. The one in the middle, the bullpen just couldn't get it done.
No.
So you're in the games is really what I'm saying. It's not like you're just a terrible team and you just find yourself different ways to lose. So, but here's the deal. Cincinnati is just dangerous enough to make your weekend uncomfortable if you don't pay attention to them because they have enough legitimate players. The pitching is they're still searching for pitching.
You got Luis Castillo tonight against you.
And he could be a handful. So one of the things I've noticed about the game, you touched on it earlier, everybody's pitching is struggling right now. But the Cardinals, it seems like it's an annual time where either they're walking everybody or the bullpen's blowing up or the starters can't give you more than 4 innings. All those things combined. And it happens for about 10 days on a schedule where you just like, what the hell is going on?
Every day's a scramble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And once you get through that, either you make a move or somebody comes back that can help you. So, it's a lot of different things. So I just say to people, be patient. We're going to get through this. We'll be okay.
Claibs, it's such a long season, and normally you would have your reevaluation point at Flag Day,
yes,
right, for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's a little bit changed because of the lockout and all that. But going into Flag Day, which scenario would you rather have? It's going to sound really stupid, but I'll tell you why I'm asking it. Would you rather have a team that's slightly underperforming, or would you rather have a team that's hotter than you think it should be? And I say that because it's such a long season.
No, it's a good question.
You got to get hot at the right time.
I want to see them have an upward swing. Okay. So where they're at now, I'm good with, because I know there's a lot more baseball in front of you, because you can reach your peak too quick. And then all of a sudden you start to decline and people say, well, we'll get it back. And you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in this case, I want to see the gradual growth where you can evaluate people and know later, this is what we really need. This person is not what we thought. This is a pleasant surprise. So we still have an evaluation time, but I like the upward swing.
Claibs, we were talking earlier about the success of the Cardinals long term and how the fan base has actually had I don't want to say they've been spoiled. That's not the right word, but they've been treated to good baseball over the last several decades. And I can't help but think about the Reds and how they have squandered any opportunity to be really good. And then the comments from Phil Castellini from, was it a couple of months ago?
It was opening day.
Yeah, it was opening day.
Happy opening
like
day.
When you,
He gave everybody hope.
Yeah, when you heard that, what was your thought?
What are you thinking? This is a sport that's coming off of a pandemic. This is a sport that's trying to garner to younger fans. This is a sport that still, from a marketing standpoint, is trying to find themselves. And for somebody to basically say, hey, we're not going to be any good, but we still like for you to come out.
Yeah. And where are you going to go?
And if you don't
is that what he
like
said?
it,
Like, where are you going to go?
Yeah, where are you going to go? And if you don't like it,
football
we can
season
move.
will be here in September. He said all the things that, because of the pandemic, sports fans have found other things to do. Okay. And there's some people that won't come back because they have found other things to do that will entertain them, where it doesn't have to be at a baseball game. And when your home team is already surrendered and raised the white flag, but they still want you to come out and support them. And the answer is, no, I can do something else now. And that's something that obviously he didn't understand. And their attendance has suffered a little bit. It's demoralizing if you're a player to know that your owner feels that way. But you still have a job to do. And I think Cincinnati, for all the things, the distractions that they've dealt with, still put a formidable team out there. But at some point it catches up to them. They just don't have enough. And that's the unfortunate thing, because Cincinnati fans deserve better. All sports fans deserve better than owners who don't commit.
Yeah, they deserve an effort.
Yes. If you try, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if you just sit there and just say, well, it is what it is, that's not cool.
Like, really try. Not like be at dinner and act like you're going for the wallet, but you're really not.
Right.
Yeah, like, I tried.
exactly.
Oh, you beat me. Yeah. Alligator
you just
arm in
gotta
it.
sit there and twiddle your thumbs and see who goes first.
Yeah.
And then when they pull it out,
hold on, I'm going to go wash my hands.
Exactly,
Hang on, I'll be right back. I got to wash my hands.
Exactly.
Claibs, good to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you guys, and keep up the great. This is one of the fun times of the day, or listening to you guys having fun.
Thank you.
Because it goes out over the airways. You guys show up like I do in life. I show up looking to have a good time in everything I do.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
If you get it, fine. If you don't, I'm still having a good time.
Yeah. Well,
have fun with the
Great
game
to see you
tonight, my
guys.
man.
All right. You guys take care.
Off my desk.
Where was it on your desk?
Right on top. Like, you couldn't miss it if you walked in the office.
Gotcha.
Which I thought was safe, and someone stole my sandwich. You guys, I don't think, because I think you'd finally tell me and start laughing. I don't think you would do that, or I think you would say later, hey, I took that sandwich. And
So
I
we're
care.
suspects. We're light suspects.
Everybody is.
Wow.
Everybody is, Dave.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 2 on KMOX.
Inflation is the highest it's been in 40 years. Lots of financial uncertainty out there. And joining me now, Steve All from the All Financial Group. Steve, you say that people are worried about this and they are calling, asking for help.
You know, that's probably the biggest question that we have right now. Jim and Joanne, they called and they said, that, we've got about $650,000 saved for retirement. We're 65, 67. And we have that fear about, will we run out of money in retirement? And can we keep up with inflation? So we brought them in. We did the analysis for them. And when we started to look at their risk reward, they were almost predominantly in cash because they just have a great big fear of the market. And the idea that when we got back and actually did it, they are like other people that they're going to go broke safely because they're not willing to take some risk with some part of their portfolio. We don't need to be 90% invested, but we need something in the quote stocks to give us that rate of return that can keep up with or succeed and go ahead of inflation. So we kind of looked at it and said, okay, what other things are available? What will give me a bigger return than currently people being sitting in cash? Because the banks are currently paying 0.0 and you put the number behind it. They're not a whole lot higher than that. So what are we going to do for those people? I look at a couple different places. If I can get a fixed interest rate for a set period of time, 5 years, between 2 and 3%, it always is going to change. So to be whatever you would get when you come in, that would be something. That's a fixed annuity.
To find out how you can inflation-proof your retirement income plan, give a call today, 636-230-8824, 636-230-8824. More details on the website at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
At 1:30, we've got some clouds and 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. KMOX has confirmed that a car has been driven through the front door of Aldi off Lewis and Clark Boulevard in Granite City. A worker at a shop nearby tells KMOX that crews appear to be working on repairing the damage already. One person we have confirmed suffered minor injuries. We're working to get more information, and we'll have the latest for you as we get it on KMOX. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked the UK for its effective support of Kyiv following an in-person meeting with Britain's defense chief. A man was killed last night when he was thrown from a vehicle after it sideswiped a tractor trailer that was stopped on the right shoulder of I-70 at Thrush. Investigators say the doors of the car were sheared off by the impact and the vehicle spun, ejecting the victim. The 16-year-old girl driving the car was not hurt. A 15-year-old female passenger is in stable condition. The truck's driver was not hurt. Right now, we've got debris on 70 East at 79. It's got the left lane closed. A crash on 6440 West at Hanley. Some debris on 141 North past Olive has the right lane closed. And some debris on 6440 East before Tower Grove Avenue that has the 3 right lanes closed. Our weather forecast this afternoon, more clouds than sun. A chance of a shower thunderstorm and some spots through this evening with a high of 80. Overnight tonight, the clouds break, low 64. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun and a high of 84. It's 79 degrees at the moment downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
Tired of the cookie-cutter feel of some new home communities? Discover the uniqueness of Lombardo Homes at Inverness. Inverness features variable setbacks throughout the neighborhood to create a park-like setting along the streets, as well as trails with pocket parks, loads of common ground, and 4 lakes. Inverness features custom homes ranging from 1,700 to over 2,500 square feet, priced from the high 300s. Tour our decorated display within Inverness, located on the north side of 5Z Road, west of Bryan Road. For more information, visit lombardohomes.com.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. With a focus on community banking, who better to join us than Sandy DeMond, Senior Vice President and Director of Community Banking at Busey. She joined Jeff Burgess and me to discuss Busey's financial literacy programs available to both students and adults. Listen to our June podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking. Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Join me Monday mornings at 9:50 for our new feature, 5 Minutes with Number 5. And you know who that is? Albert Pujols. 5 Minutes with Number 5. Mondays at 9:50 a.m. on the Voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
All right, back on the show. Amy, Chris, Kevin hanging out with former KMOXer, now in a different crowd. You're over there at that 97.1 FM thing, Mark Reardon. Good to be with you, dude.
You know, what's interesting is that I was thinking back, this is the first time that I've been back in this studio since departing the airwaves after 16 years on Afternoon Drive. You guys are the only ones that have invited me. That's not necessarily true because Carol, I think, had me on once or twice, but it was on the phone. So God bless you to have me return to my roots. I do have one question for the room.
Okay.
We got 3 broadcasters in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
nobody can run a damn board? You got the producer on the board? Are you not capable?
No.
I don't know how to do
Mark,
that.
No, I don't
this
either.
This is what you do when you have power.
Okay. All right. I like control.
You
I'm a
negotiate that
control
way.
freak.
No.
That's my deal. I know, shocking, right?
Not you. Well, I will say this. The first thing I thought, we're going to ask you about the Blue Angels ride in a second, but I'm sitting here looking at your glasses. Like, how do you even read through those? They're like fingerprints everywhere.
So I work with Sue
you
Thomas.
You can grab the handles and not the glass part, right?
Yeah. Sue Thomas on the, who I work with every afternoon. She's constantly giving me, I think, dirty looks about my dirty glasses. Believe it or not, I have a little cleaner in a cloth, but Kevin, does anyone else wear reading glasses, or am I the only one that's old?
Oh, yeah.
Producer Dave
You
has
should talk
reading
to my
glasses.
wife sometime because these things are all over the house. And then, of course, there's probably 30 pair at this point, and I can never find them. In my car, they slip down in the, the little spot between the console and the passenger seat.
Shouldn't be reading in your car.
I could probably reach, I know. I could probably reach down there right now and grab like 4 or 5 pair. But I lost the ability to really read without those glasses probably 10 years ago. You know what's funny? This is a true story, Kevin, because you were involved in this. Remember when John Carney had, and I still think he does, John we worked with here, his dad was a legend here on KMOX. I don't know if you know the legend, Chris.
Yeah.
So he used to have his Halloween party.
Yeah,
and
spectacular.
This comes up every once in a while on Facebook where I don't like dressing up for things, but I went with one of my cycling kits in a big turkey baster as Lance Armstrong, like a doping cyclist.
Yeah.
Turkey baster.
Wait, what?
Well, it's like it was supposed to be a big syringe.
Yeah, I got the prop.
But turkey baster's the same thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So at that same party, and this comes up on Facebook Memories because Kevin was there, and I think you were doing a baseball thing too.
I don't remember that, or if it was like I went as Slash from Guns N' Roses.
That sounds
year.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So
tracks.
my wife didn't know what to do, and she goes to Walgreens and she decides this could tell us a little bit about my wife. She decides to do naughty schoolgirl, and she gets some reading glasses, right? And she, let's see, Chris. So she.
I love Halloween,
man. We just learned something about.
it.
We just learned something about Ranji right
It's
now.
Halloween's the best.
Ranji went right into creeper mode.
Yeah.
He's like, what's that? What movie is that where Jack Nicklaus is like, yes.
I think it's called The Shining.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
And then the axe through the bathroom door. Yeah.
Oh, it's uncomfortable.
So I'm goofing around after she does that. I put these glasses on in the kitchen of my house in the city at the time, and I look down at like a label. I'm like, holy crap, I can read. This is amazing. I was 45 years old at the time. And then I think I wore it was really, for a while, it was helpful because I would claim that I couldn't read things because I couldn't. And then I'd make my wife do recipes and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't really read that. Can you do this?
Hey, this is something about you that I just am totally amazed by. You are like 76 years old and you look 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't get it. What are you doing?
It's good genes, and I haven't had a drop of alcohol since 1990. I do think that plays into it. I really do.
It's got to.
Yeah.
So Ron,
you think he looks young?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Ron is asking us because we all agreed that Ron looks much older than he is. He's not old. But
Well, no,
he looks
you and I
very
agreed. I don't think he agrees with us on that one.
old. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron.
he went from creepy yes to
Chris,
stone face
all the time. Look, I have had that benefit. I will say this. I look at pictures from when my daughter was born, and that was 7 years ago. I'm looking a lot older. But one time I had, and this was when I was on KMOX, people would try to guess my age. I've had that reaction that I look younger. Marlon Wayans is in here one day, and we asked him, and he nailed it. He's like, I was 52 at the time. Yeah, I was 52, and he nailed it. I'm like, you cheated. And he said to me, he goes, no, your face looks young, but you got a chicken neck. All right.
He's right. Yeah.
Chicken neck.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
Oh,
All right.
God.
So let's get to the root of this visit, sir. You have made me unbelievably jealous.
Yes.
Because you got to go up with the Blue Angels this week.
Yes,
First
I'm
of
very
all,
lucky.
I hate you. Second of all, what was it like?
It was great. I was invited. Mark Sutherland, who I'm sure you guys know, he does a lot of the work with the air show. He invited me probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I wimped at that time. And here's why. I will tell you. And I've started to be more candid about this. And I think I did this before I left KMOX. I had serious anxiety and depression, and I was worried about revealing that. And I had to fill out an application, so I just kind of ignored it at the time. But now that's all under control. I feel a lot better. And when he invited me, I'm like, I got to do this, right? And I'm not really afraid of flying or heights or anything like that. So I had to go get a medical check. My doctor had to approve. I had eye surgery 32 years ago, and I called my ophthalmologist, who, by the way, his name is Dr. Blinder. True story. He's here in St. Louis.
Nice.
And I said, is that going to interfere, the pressure? He said, no. Can I take the ride? So I got all the clearance and went out on Wednesday morning. Griffin Stengel was my pilot. He was outstanding, and off and away we went. And it was exciting. It was terrifying. To answer, we might as well just get this out of the way. Yes, twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Wait,
I
you
puked twice.
Oh, I was going to say. I mean,
So
there are a couple other options there too.
I just have to ask. I mean, I don't want to be gross, but the logistics of this, because you're in a plane. It's not that big. You're flying around. I'm guessing you don't have a mask on or anything.
No, I didn't have a mask on. I had a shield, and then I had a microphone that had to be right up against my mouth, because the pilot had to hear me. So did you see the video of taking off?
So yeah, and I showed my entire family. So his wife posted on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have shown friends, I have shown family, and when you took off, holy moly.
Yeah, so he comes down the runway and he goes, okay, they told us, we had a briefing, all right, and they went through everything you're supposed to do. So when you're in the cockpit and you're pulling G's, you have to press down really hard with your legs, almost like you're standing up in the cockpit. You're trying. You're not allowed to because it's strapped in, but you want to make sure the blood doesn't go from your head to your feet. So you push with your core, you push with your legs, and ready go is the way that they signal you that they're ready to go, and then you have to take a breath too. So he goes right away. We're going fully vertical. I'm like, holy crap! I thought there'd be a little, like
an adjustment period. Yeah.
So we go into the clouds. It was cloudy. We go above the clouds, and we're just circling around and tooling around like it's a big billowy pillow in circles. They had the airspace that was cleared out, and it was baby steps after that. He's like, okay, we're going to turn right. We're going to turn left. How you feeling? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we finally got into, I think it was 6Gs when we took off. He was running through 3Gs, 4Gs. I get up to 5Gs. I can't remember if we were doing a roll or something else, because a lot of this is a little foggy to me right now. And I came out of the one maneuver, and he said, how you doing? I'm like, I might need a minute. And then he said, well, how about, he gave me a minute. We're just tooling around. We're probably talking a little bit. And he said, all right, how about if we go upside down? I said, how about if you give me a little bit more time? So I took another minute or so, and I did feel okay, but it was the pressure of the gravity that was getting to me. I didn't really feel nauseous. He took me upside down. He said, we're going to be upside down for 10 seconds. I said, okay. We go upside down. That's a weird feeling. I will tell you, being upside down in an F-18 Super Hornet is a weird feeling. Did okay with it. My head is sort of going toward the canvas or whatever you call that thing.
Canopy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hopefully it's not canvas. That would be pretty dangerous.
Then he flips me over. And that's where the story probably takes a different, tact, and there's bags involved and everything like that. Because at that point, I'm like, oh, I don't think I feel very well. And it just, luckily, I was able to grab the bag because Sean, who's our crew chief, made it very clear that he was the guy that had to clean up the cabin.
Yes. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Like the poor person who's like, oh, dang, I got to take care of this.
All these guest rides. So we're like, oh, it's the Buke Patrol.
Well, they give you bags, and I was able to use the bags. And then in your flight suit, you have zippers at the bottom. He says, okay, tie up the bags, put them in your flight suit. So, look, I don't want to get too gross, but
I'm like getting dizzy.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot in my stomach. So then after that, I got through it. He goes, how you doing? I said, I'm doing okay. And I felt a little woozy. He's like, okay, how about this? And we were going to break the sound barrier. And I said, how about you take me back on the ground, because there's no way I had to wimp out on the 7Gs.
Oh, that'd have been great.
Yeah.
Did they say, like, what were you expecting if you had broken the sound barrier? Like, did they prep you for that? Say, if we do this,
I think he was gonna do some more rolls, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but at that point, I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to not do it, but I almost passed out on the first maneuvers because you can feel they call it like the graying out, but I could see like the sides, the
Yeah,
peripheral
yeah,
vision
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of going dark, and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just kind of hanging on, and you get there. And I got through that, but if you would have taken me to 7 Gs,
Yeah.
I think I would have passed out for sure.
And see, I kind of understand this because I was on a Southwest flight to Philadelphia, and the guy, I think it was
very similar.
It was a pretty
Very
quick
similar.
takeoff, and I
Yeah.
started feeling a little dizzy.
See, it happens, Amy. It does happen.
So they talk to you about ejection if necessary?
Well, they call that the bonus ride. So
Yeah.
during the training, we had, well, they have to. It's never happened with
Right.
like a meteor ride or something like that, but they're running us through it. And we were kind of half joking. There was another guy, Dan O'Keefe was his name. He's a Boy Scout leader, really great guy. However, Dan cheated on this. He went first, right? He goes first. He's kind of jokey. We're trying to get through it because we're mentally tortured. He goes on the flight. He comes back down. He's very wobbly. But then he tells me, and he didn't tell Griffin or Sean this, he was an Air Force pilot.
What?
That's cheating.
That's cheating.
That's
Now,
cheating.
Granted, he was in a cargo plane. He wasn't going 600 miles an hour, but still, I thought that was cheating.
So I texted you after the flight because I was losing my mind. Like Wheeler, just this is the most amazing
Jealous.
thing. I'm jealous. This is so cool. Was it worth it? Because I imagine it's not like you land and then you're better.
You remember my answer?
I do.
Yeah, my answer was, ask me later.
Yeah.
Because I was in rough shape. And the way that I would explain it, and part of this is my fault, because they encouraged you to be in better physical condition and to exercise. And I'm not doing as much of that as I should. And that was the one thing that panicked me. But I felt like I used to ride a bike pretty seriously. I would
you're a
ride,
serious cyclist.
75, 80 miles, 100. I've done many centuries. It was like being on the bike after 80 miles where you just want to get those last 5 miles. You don't know how you're going to do it. And then you get off and you feel exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt. But I didn't feel like that for an hour. I felt like that for several hours. I didn't eat for 24 hours. I didn't have a Diet Coke for 24 hours. Amy, you guys, Kevin and Amy know me. Chris, you don't know me. This is like my poison, dude. If I don't have a Diet Coke, I'm not well.
You got to have something.
Yeah. So I didn't feel great after that, but I'm not as sore as maybe I expected. Boy, I slept like a baby last night. What's interesting, Wednesday night, I tossed and turned a little bit. I don't know if it was just my body was uncomfortable. Last night, none of those problems. But look, yes, it was worth it. I'm so glad I did it. There's a lot of people like Kevin who are jealous, responding on the Facebook page. It's an amazing experience. I mean, that's kind of the way that I was. I'm 57 years old right now. And when I get invited to do something crazy like that, I have to take advantage of it at this point.
I'm going to remember
very
that
glad.
statement right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to invite you for some things.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I'm up for challenges now. I think.
You want to go to a Slipknot show with this guy?
Yeah, we went to the Guns N' Roses show together.
Oh, that was a great show
Yeah.
too. Man,
Yeah.
great. Now
I think he'd join me in the pit. Wouldn't
I
you join me in the
have
pit?
all 42 glorious minutes of this on a SIM card from the cabin, which includes everything.
Nice.
Not to
Oh,
be
right.
right.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
have not looked at that video yet, and I will tell you that SIM card is not going out of my possession because no one else is going to have access to the bags that were used because I'm sure that they want to. For
I'm sitting here thinking, how can I do?
I know,
this?
exactly.
Yeah,
Mission
I kind of want to
Impossible.
see it too.
I'm going to be like Ethan Hunt, like. Dun, 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 dun.
Well,
I'm
you
going to
know
do the
what's
thing where I
cool?
come from the ceiling in your house and just like hover over the ground so I can get that thing.
Kevin, the thing about being in the
This guy-
position that I was in that FA
Yeah, Kevin, the loudest guy on earth.
Ron and I just had that visual.
I'm super quiet. I'm like a ninja when I walk.
being
I
in the
won't- I just won't
position
say
that I
anything.
was.
Thor, the God of Thunder, is in for the SIM card.
Well, that's a great Kiss song, by the way. That was the position I was in the F-18 that Tom Cruise was in for the movie. Have you guys seen Top
Not
Gun?
yet. Not
I
yet.
did.
It's fantastic.
I did.
I
It's
think it was
good.
really good.
It's good. You're the best.
Thank you, Mark.
I know.
I feel nauseated.
Oh, I
Listening
feel like
to
I
that
wanna do
story,
this
I
now.
feel dizzy.
Yeah. Over the course of my career, most women have had that experience with me,
Yeah.
Amy, so it's very consistent.
Yeah,
Thank
they
you.
do you do tend to make people sick.
Yes.
See, buddy. Have a good show
Thank
today.
you for having me back here. See you guys. Thank you.
When it comes to anything electrical, your residence, your business, your industrial job, leave it to the pros. You see Reinhold electric trucks all over the place. It's a big family-owned company. They have over 350 union electricians, laborers, millwrights, carpenters. They've got a lot of people that have been there for well over 10 years, and they are ready for any job you have. Maybe you want to get an inline generator. A lot of people are looking into that. It's a great investment because when the storms roll through, power goes out in the neighborhood. With an inline generator, your power stays on, and Reinhold Electric can get you connected with one of those right away. If you are looking at an electric car, you need a charging station at your home, in your garage, right? Well, Reinhold does that as well. And every phone call that comes in 24 hours a day is answered by a real live person. So call Reinhold Electric for all your electrical needs at 314-631-1158. That's 314-631-1158, or go to ReinholdElectric.com. Tell them Bo sent you.
If you filed a tax extension in April, don't wait until it's too late to handle your tax issues. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. Every year, thousands of Missourians file extensions when their taxes are due in April. But what people don't know is the extension only moves your deadline to file your return, not to pay your taxes. So if you didn't pay anything back in April, you could now owe taxes plus interest plus penalties. You think you've bought yourself time, but really you've just added to the total bill. If this sounds like you, call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I am a local tax attorney with an A+ BBB rating, and I will meet with you right away to help handle your tax problems quickly. The deadline to file your return after an extension has already passed, so call the Lance Drury Law Firm now before it's too late. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
Burnout is increasing, and employers have a lot of work to do to re-engage people, cautions HR expert Jane Ann Calloway Haybeck, president of Calloway Haybeck Talent Consulting, in our latest episode of PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. I'm Carol Daniel. PNC C-Speak provides digital storytelling from a C-level perspective on relevant forward-thinking business approaches. Listen to our 15-minute podcast with Jane Ann Calloway Haybeck at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
The annual Swing for Kids golf tournament at Lake Forest Country Club is Monday, August 8th. Find out more information or register your team at communitylivingmo.org/golf.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. More Amy, more Kevin, more Chris. What is this weird show? The Show on KMOX.
All right, DGS coming up in a couple of minutes here on KMOX. Obviously, wrapping this thing up in a few minutes. And then the three of us, because we don't get enough of hanging out with each other, going to the Cardinals game tonight.
I know, because we're the three best friends. I can't wait to go to the Cardinal game. Kevin, you said that like you're super jealous you would go in the Blue Angel.
In a heartbeat.
Okay, so you have a choice. You can either ride in a Blue Angel or take the SpaceX thing to space.
Ooh, probably the Blue Angel. Probably.
Really?
Probably.
I'd rather go to space.
Would you?
I mean, just the... Well, I mean, the likelihood,
cool
the
too,
likelihood
but-
of either one is low.
Well, this is not about likelihoods. This is a fun hypothetical until you
So
get
what I'm saying is, I'm more likely to get a chance to be on a Blue Angel. To go up into space, like that's never going to happen. Like there's no chance.
It could.
happening.
As
For
famous
me?
as you're getting?
Oh, is that right?
I mean, Elon could be like, I like that guy with the glasses. Let's see if he wants to go to space.
Well, if we know anything, it's that Elon Musk is totally listening to St. Louis local radio.
Apparently, he pays attention to what anybody says about him. So
On Twitter only.
Oh, well, then bother
Tweet at
him.
him.
We
Say-
Be like,
from the
Elon.
show.
Yeah.
Let's tweet at him from at the show KMOX.
But just nothing but his name. No message, no nothing. Just like, Elon!
No. It needs to say, Elon, can Ranj go to space with you?
That seems begging a little bit. We almost have to make it seem like his idea. Like we have to do a little inception here.
Elon,
Like,
it's a
get him
great
in.
idea for Ranj to go to space with you.
Elon Musk doesn't seem like the kind of person who can be convinced by anybody about anything.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to make him think it's his idea.
I don't even know how you could do that.
Subtle, man. Subtle. You got to do. I mean, first of all, You got to get into his dreams like they do in the movie.
Okay.
And then once you get into the dreams, you can make him think it's his idea.
Okay. Well, I don't really play on that level. I'm not that smart.
Okay.
The way you said it, I'm
Hey,
not.
producer Dave,
that
can you cut
smart.
that so we can have that
No,
sound?
I'm keeping that in there.
Yeah, I'm not that smart.
I'm not. Yep.
Okay, so then Blue Angel or this. See, now this is a dumb question. I was going to say IndyCar, but that's easy. You do Blue Angel, obviously.
Yeah.
You chose it over space.
Yeah. What would you have chosen, Space or Blue Angels?
I can't do either. I would die. I literally have a physical condition. I passed out on the mine train. It was a
That
turn.
is so
You mean
unbelievable.
the mine ride?
The
mine
mine train ride
like
at Six Flags.
Oh, at Six Flags. Okay.
Next to the kids section.
Mm-hmm.
I rode the mine train and blacked out. So I think I would die.
That's
But in IndyCar,
I don't think you
do.
would die. I think you would pass out.
Do you know what? Do you know what that is? You passing out on the mine train ride is the equivalent of you saying the word crap and thinking you've cussed. It's the same thing.
By the way, have you ever seen those videos of the people that passed out on those rides?
Yeah.
They're pretty wild.
Which rides?
Like there are a couple of them. I've seen one where a dude passes out on the roller coaster.
Oh.
He's going and he's just like, and then he's just like hanging there. And then he wakes up and he's like,
Yeah,
and
he's
he passes
screaming
out
at that.
again.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And then there's the ones where there's a couple of them where I saw women that passed out on like the slingshot rides. Where you put them in there and they take off and they're screaming and they're like, yeah.
They wake up screaming.
And then they're just flopping in the breeze.
Oh, gee.
They look like that. Did you ever see the video, Amy? Kevin, maybe you haven't seen it either, of the Denver Nuggets mascot from years ago. And they had him prior to a game hanging up in the rafters to do something. They were going to lower him to the ground and he passed out. So they're lowering this guy and he just like, the mascot's like limp. And he goes to the limp mascot, just and the kids are probably freaking out, like, what happened to him? You never saw that? No. It's awesome.
So this was, I think it was opening night, my freshman year baseball at Miami. Opening night, we're playing University of California, Cal Bears, two really good teams, and we had the craziest mascot of all time at our school. He worked football and baseball games, but with a different uniform. He's called the Miami Maniac. And he flew into the stadium in a police helicopter in his outfit, rappelled down the rope with a giant squirt gun in a Rambo outfit.
Oh, wow.
And then went over and like shot the water gun at the Cal Bears and then came running over and celebrated with the crowd and all that. But he didn't pass out. He pulled it off. Although I'll tell you what he did one time. He was practicing for a stunt that he wanted to pull off. We had a building, right? So he had a 2-story building that was our baseball building, and the dugout was attached to that. And during the Olympics, he built a ski jump.
Oh, wow.
And he was so he's up at the top of the building. He hits the ramp. He's trying to do the jump onto the field, and he thinks he's going to land it. And he hits the ground. His skates go out from underneath him, lands right on his booty, and he did not get up.
Oh, God.
Sat there for just a little bit. Are you seeing the dead mascot there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Like, it just... How could you be any more horrified if you're a child at any sporting event and the mascot is passed out, like it looks dead?
He's just like sitting there.
It's anybody who's listening, just Google Denver Nuggets mascot passes out.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
He almost looks like the Pink Panther, but he's just like,
oh.
Yeah. That
Sorry,
was me
kids.
on the mine train.
I was
That's why I can't go to space.
I was going to tell you guys to have a good weekend, but we'll see you tonight. Everybody else have a good weekend. DGS is coming up next. You're on your home for the Cardinals, KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time